Hello, everybody. How are you doing? So we are on day 26 of the Only the Inspired Coach Summit. We have 4 incredible interviews today. I am super excited about all of our coaches today. They just are absolutely fantastic. So make sure that you let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you're going to watch the videos anyways, please do a watch party. Invite people to watch the videos with you or share it. We have just amazing coaches today. Yes, Christina. Wow, 4 coaches. And yeah, so the last week of this summit is wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, just coach after coach, and they're awesome. And so we are starting off today with a doctor. She is a pediatrician. So this is Dr. Hokehe Effiong. Did I pronounce it right?
You did.
I did. Yay.
Thank you, Robin, for having me on.
You're welcome. So she is in Oklahoma, and she is just doing amazing things. On top of being a pediatrician, she realized there were things that the parents were doing that were affecting the child, so she started coaching parents. And she is also going to talk about the nonprofit that she's doing, which is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I'm very excited to share your interview. So do you want to share anything before we get started today?
Well, I'd love to hear your questions and talk with you later.
Absolutely. So we are going to play her interview. And so we just recorded this. Actually, I didn't write it down. We just recorded this this month, so it hasn't been that long. And so as we go through, if you have any questions for Dr. Effiong, then please put them in the chat, and she is going to come back up and answer any questions. And so she focuses on brain health. And so it's such a topic that needs to be talked about. You know, everybody needs a pediatrician for their children, but she goes above and beyond by helping the parents. And so I am very excited to share her interview. Yay. Okay, so we are going to share that. So please mute your microphone, and we will see you here in just a little bit. Make sure that you put any questions in the chat. Okay. All right, so we'll see you shortly. Hello, everybody. This is Robin Leslie with OnlyTheInspired.com doing another amazing interview today. Today, I have the Dr. Hokehe, and I am not going to attempt the last name. You guys know I'm really bad at pronouncing names, so I am super glad to have you here today. So how do you pronounce your last name?
Effiong.
Effiong. Oh, well, that's easier than I thought it would be. So, my dear, in a couple of minutes, describe who you are and how you help people.
Okay, thank you, Robin, for having me on.
You're welcome.
My name is Dr. Effiong, as she said, and I'm a pediatrician. I'm also a certified brain health coach. So I help moms and kids find their holistic worth by taking them through being aware of whatever it is in their past that might be holding them back and getting them through to feeling empowered and being able to live their very best lives. So with the moms, I do that mainly in a personal development type way. And with the kids, yes, I do medicine with them. I mean, I treat them as a pediatrician and also do any kinds of therapy that they might need. Uh, so
I think that's fantastic that you work with the parents also.
Because
Yeah.
I found that if the moms are not doing well, especially the kids will not do well. So it doesn't make any sense to exclude them. And as a pediatrician, yes, I focus on the kids' health, but now most of the time I spend my time talking to the moms too and asking how they're doing and trying to just get them to a good place. So then I'm sure that they will take better care of their kids. So.
And I am sure that you've realized that going through the years that it is a connection. It's not one or the other. And that if the kid is struggling, it is most likely because the parents are struggling also.
That's correct, because kids are sponges and they take up more than we as parents are aware of from their parents and from their environment. So a lot of times it's not just what's happening to the kid. It's not why is the kid acting this way. It's what happened to them. And then as you're asking what happened to the kid, you have to ask what happened to the parents, because if the parents have issues that they haven't resolved or are aware of that's going on in the background, then you really can't help the child, because yes, you may give medication to take care of the surface reason, but if you don't ask a few more questions and get to the real source of what's going on, then in the long run, you're just kind of we're just putting a band-aid on what the problem is and not really getting to the source of it. So.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. So, how did you get started in this business? Obviously, you're a pediatrician, so that's one thing. But how did you move into also helping the parents and coaching the parents? Was that one event or a series of events that happened?
Well, it's more like a series of events. So, yes, I actually still work as a pediatrician in a community hospital, seeing patients. But then I did some training on child abuse, and then that opened my eyes to, wait, I really have lots of kids who are abused. Not that I didn't know that before, but it kind of brought it to the fore of my attention. And then I realized, wait, I have lots of foster kids actually, more than I thought I did once I started going through the training. And so that made me start thinking, okay, so what can I do to help foster kids? The other thing I did mention that I do is I run a nonprofit for foster children. It's called Kids of Hope. So with foster care, most times the kids are taken out of their homes with little to none of their belongings because of the environment they come from. They may just be taken out in a hurry. So the kids, if you know a kid, I mean, if you have any kids or you're around kids, you know that kids desperately want to have something they call their own, which is the same as adults, right? So now you've just taken a kid out of the only place they call home, which is traumatic enough. And then you add on top of that, that they have none of their stuff. And that's an extra layer of trauma for any child. So I started hearing more and more of these stories and just seeing the kids like really having behavioral issues and being traumatized. And so I thought, okay, there's something I can do about this. So just a series of children that really tugged at my heart, like one that kept telling me to hug him after he had been in so many homes in a short period of time. He was only 4. And the entire visit, he just kept saying, please hug me, please hug me. And I was like, he doesn't have behavioral issues. He doesn't have ADHD. He just needs love. And that turned out to be true, because when they found a foster home that was loving to this little boy, all the behavioral issues seemed to not be that much anymore. I mean, they were under control because he's only 4. He needs to know that he can be in a safe place and somebody cares for him. So that made me start my nonprofit. After I'd sat on it for like a year, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do something. So I started putting bags together with brand new items, with comfort and essential items for the kids that we hand out to foster care agencies and DHS offices. So when the kids are taken from their homes, they have something that's theirs. And we put notes in there that are handwritten, telling them they're loved and they're valuable. So that's one part of what I do. And then because I started doing that, I discovered that, wow, really, there's something called adverse childhood experiences, which is that the experiences you go through as a child really have more effect on us as adults than we previously thought. Like, it actually leads, the higher the number of adverse childhood experiences you have, the higher your risk of chronic disease, of heart disease at an early age, of hurting yourself. You're 12 times more likely to kill yourself, things like that. And we weren't really aware of all that, but more and more research has been done to find that that's true. And so when I discovered that, then I was like, oh my goodness, so I can no longer just talk to kids as, and parents surface level, like, oh, what's the kid doing? Okay, I'll give you something to fix it. I'll give you a medication. So now I have to ask, what happened to this child? What happened to you, parents? And so many times I uncover that, okay, if we just make simple changes, such as now mom is aware of the depression she's had that has been under the surface and not addressed at all. If we address that with mom, then she feels better about herself. She's able to take better care of the child, and the child's those behaviors, because the behavior of a child is attention seeking. They need your attention because you're all they have, right? So they're either gonna get it in a positive or a negative way from you. So if it means that every time they do bad, that's when you pay attention to them, then that's what they'll keep doing. Or if you respond to them in a positive manner, then that's what they will keep doing, because they know that good things get a good response from you. So, but if a parent is struggling, then they may typically respond in a negative way. So then the child just keeps doing things to get that response from them. So I found that once I started, now it's like my visits turn into coaching. It's like they get longer and longer. It's like I have to talk to these moms, especially, like, okay, what's really going on? So that's how I got started. And then I was like, okay, I can do this for more moms. And so then I started doing that on the side also with other moms outside of my regular practice, because I found that it's so helpful and it works. And really you're getting to the root cause of what's going on with the parents and the child. And that's really where healing takes place. So yes, long story.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, bad attention's better than no attention. And yeah, if the mom's depressed and the kid's not getting any attention, they might act out, which is going to only trigger the mom a little bit more.
Yes.
Instead of benefit it. I love that you're working with the parents too, because parents have been through their own stuff, and if they haven't healed, then they just kind of pass that on. I think that's absolutely beautiful that you recognize that, and what you're doing for foster children. That it's such a sad story. I remember it was a movie. I think it was a movie. Where there were foster kids in there, and this kid had a huge, big, giant bag of teddy bears, and he got a new teddy bear every time he went to a new foster home. And that was basically all that he owned that was his own. And it just made me so sad, because you don't have anything. You don't have the heirloom. You don't have what your grandma gave you. You don't have anything that belongs to you, including your own home. Yeah. I think what you're doing is absolutely beautiful. Yay.
Thank you.
So describe your ultimate vision for your business.
So my ultimate vision is to be able to, I guess I could put a number on it. Like, people say your big, hairy, audacious goal, like, okay, I want to touch 1 million people, but
do it. Don't be shy. Do it. You can. With the power of the internet, you can do that.
I can. It's true. You're actually right.
And 1 million people is just a teeny percentage of the 7 billion that we have on the planet.
That's exactly right. So if I can touch 1 million moms who will touch 1 million kids or more, then, and the ripple effect is, you can't actually quantify that, because one person touches one person and then it just keeps going. So that would be my ultimate vision, is to practice in a way that I can definitely integrate more services for both the moms and the kids. So helping parents in a holistic way. So like my coaching program, I incorporate exercise, I incorporate nutrition, brain health, because brain health is so critical. We often think of just mindset. Okay, let's get your mindset. But we don't often think of the actual health of our brains, which are the drivers for our minds and the rest of us, really. So if your brain is not physically healthy, you really can't be healthy in the long run. You might try and patch things here and there, but if that's not healthy, then nothing else will be. So just making it holistic, teaching the parents so that they can teach the kids, and incorporating finances into that, just ways to build moms up, because I firmly believe that if we build moms up, then the rest of the family will come along with it.
So I'm curious, when you talk about brain health, so besides mindset, can you have an unhealthy brain? Is there, okay, can you go into that a little bit more? It's not
Sure.
just thinking.
No, I mean, that's a big one, but no, it's not that. It's the physical health of your brain. So for example, what you eat, you are what you eat, right? So something like caffeine that people don't think too much of, and we just drink coffee. So caffeine will actually constrict the blood vessels in your brain. And your brain is the biggest organ. It needs the most oxygen. So blood vessels carry oxygen to your brain. And if you're constantly consuming things that constrict blood vessels to your brain, and your brain is not getting enough oxygen, yes, your mind might be right, but in the long run, if your brain doesn't get enough oxygen, your thinking still would be cloudy. You still won't make good decisions. Yes, you may work on your mindset, but it also, if your brain is physically being attacked with something that's shrinking its life source, then really you can't be completely healthy.
I'm feeling pretty guilty. I have a cup of coffee right here.
So if you
tired.
drink more than two, I mean, with everything, you should limit it. You can slowly, I mean, if you drink more than one a day, that's where you can start to get in trouble. So there are people that drink 5 cups of coffee a day. I mean, that's a lot.
I used to, yeah.
Yes. So if you can slowly decrease that, that will definitely help. And increase water. As you decrease coffee, increase your water intake, because the brain is 80% water. So it needs water. So if you're not giving it enough water, then it won't perform like it should. And maybe you think, yes, you feel good, you're performing well, but you'll be amazed if you make just small changes, how much more better you function.
Well, and so the coffee not only restricts the oxygen to the brain, but it also dehydrates you.
That's right. And your brain needs both. Your brain needs oxygen and water.
Right. Well, and so I'll realize that, I'll get really tired, and so I reach for the coffee, and then I realize that I'm much more dehydrated than if I was to reach for the water.
That's right.
You kind of want that stimulant here and there. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what beliefs do you have that set you apart from your competition? I think you might be the only pediatrician out there actually coaching moms, but any thoughts on that idea?
Yes, that, and that there is nothing, I mean, everything is possible, really. That's my strong belief. And I didn't used to believe in myself, believe it or not. I was an introverted introvert, and I just felt like I was invisible. Yes, I have this degree, and yes, I'm serving people, but that's all I did. I didn't even want to talk to anybody else. But I found that once you can step out of just seeing, once I heard this quote from Maya Angelou, that your legacy is everybody you touch. And so that made me really think about what I was doing. So it's not just mindless work. It's really, wow, everybody you touch, everybody you talk to, everybody you smile at, that's your legacy. So what legacy do you want to leave behind? So
that's a beautiful quote. So do you have to go outside your comfort zone every time to actually talk to a parent?
I do. I mean, I'm more comfortable with it now because I told myself that what I have to say is valuable. I used to think that what I had to say, nobody would want to listen to me for whatever reason I thought. So that goes back to thinking. Yes. So it's important to do that mindset work on yourself and realize that, no, we are the ones limiting ourselves. So really, once you believe in yourself, there's nothing really you can't do. We're the only ones that limit ourselves. So, yeah, definitely just working with the moms and working with the kids and just finding ways for them to really in a holistic way discover who they are, because once you discover who you are, then you know that there's nothing, you take all the limits off of you, and you know there's nothing you can't actually accomplish if you put your mind to it.
That is beautiful. So curious, you're in Oklahoma. And so I'm curious, just kind of totally off the questions. Have you had any children be positive with COVID?
I have a few.
A few, but very small percentage. I'm just curious because, they say most of the time kids don't get it. So I was just wondering.
Well, kids can get it. I mean, we had a 3-month-old get it positive. Her parents were positive, so she was a little sick. So we tested her and she was positive too. And we've had children be positive with it. So yes, children can get it. Yes, children can spread it. Yes.
Interesting. Okay. So what was the hardest thing to overcome when starting your business? Probably this new venture of it, and it could be that introverted side of you.
Well, just believing that I could do it, like, and I could get up and start a nonprofit. Like, I don't know how to do that. But I did. And I mean, I'm just taking one step at a time and being open to realizing what I don't know and not thinking like I know it all, because the day you believe that, that's the beginning of the end. So the biggest thing was just trying to identify the areas I needed help with and where I needed to get the help from, and getting coaches to learn from, because I too have coaches that I've learned from that have helped me get to where I am. So
beautiful. So do you have the support network of friends and family supporting you in this new venture, or is this something you feel compelled to do and you're going to do it no matter what?
Well, I mean, I'm a mom of 3 amazing children. So motherhood, working, and doing this on the side, of course, it has its challenges. But yes, my family has been very supportive. I'm making friends every day, like you. I'm making more friends, expanding my network, and just planning has helped. And I take my children along with me. I mean, my kids help me with the nonprofit. I tell them they're my partners. Like now, my 11-year-old and my 3-year-old are playing quietly in the next room because I told them that they're my partners. And mommy has an important business meeting and I'll tell them all about it when I'm done. And so they're quietly entertaining themselves because they're waiting for me to come talk to them about my meeting. So it's just ways like that. Like, instead of pushing the kids away, this is how the kids will grow up to be giving adults, to grow up to know that there's nothing they can't do, to grow up to know that, I mean, life is not static. Life keeps moving and you just have to find ways to move with it. So.
And you are teaching them beautiful skills and beautiful things right now. That is awesome. And, they've got to be super proud of you and proud of themselves for doing that nonprofit with the foster kids,
Yeah.
I love that. So what is your favorite thing about your business?
Oh, that I get to work with moms. I didn't, it's funny. I guess it's amazing. I mean, before I used to just, okay, you're here for the kid, let's talk about the kid. And then I found I really enjoy talking to moms. And then I would actually sit down and just be chatting away, and the kids would be looking at me like,
hello, where's my
wait, I thought I've had a few of them tell me, wait, I thought this was my appointment. And then I have to say, listen, if I can talk to your mommy, this is mommy's appointment too. So that's my favorite part. Just the fact that I can talk with moms and just to see the lights go on in their faces, and I give them homework and they come back and they're like, oh wow. That's the best part of it. Just being able to touch them. Yeah.
I bet they appreciate it too. Some of
They,
them
they
might
ask
not.
me to be their doctors. I'm like, not
Awesome.
really. Yeah.
So, what inspires you? What are you passionate about? And it doesn't have to be business.
I'm passionate about just spreading the news just spreading the news, yes, and information to as many people as I can that change is possible, that their past doesn't have to be their present, and that there is nothing they can't do if they put their minds to it, and that they too can have like a good life. Because so many people are struggling and they just feel like there's no end in sight and they don't know where to go, where to turn. So I'm so honored and grateful that I discovered that for myself so I could share it with others that really there's nothing impossible. There's a story about me that I didn't tell. I was in at least 3 car accidents, but 2 when I was a junior in college. So I'd always wanted to be a pediatrician. And then after the car accidents, I started not doing well in school. So I was sent to see a neuropsychologist who asked me what I wanted to do. And I told him I wanted to go to medical school and be a pediatrician. And I can still hear his voice. He looked at me and told me that you will never go to medical school. You have too many brain injuries and you're not going to make it. So the thing is, I believed him at first. And yes, I didn't do well for a semester. I had to actually leave college for a whole semester. Then I got back on my feet, and with the support of my parents and just holding on to that dream I had of being a pediatrician as a kid, I went back to college and well, here I am. So that's the other reason I'm so passionate about brain health, because the people who have had things like that, like traumatic events happen and they're told they can't do something, but really you can. With the right help, you can. To some degree, it's possible to heal your brain and come back from that. So just the opportunity to tell people that it's possible. That's what really drives me. So
Was there just a little part of you that wanted to go and rub in that doctor's face? Look, I did it.
I know people keep asking me that. I'm like,
and that's a horrible thing to say, but what if you bought into that?
I did for a little bit, and I was this scaredy person that I just felt I couldn't do anything, and
if it took your one dream away for a certain amount of time, but I'm sure he didn't mean it to hurt you. Obviously you had injured your brain in the car accidents, but yeah. So who inspires you?
That's a good question. So I have a few people that inspire me. Is that okay? Does it have to be one person?
No.
Okay.
Yep.
So Lisa Nichols really inspires me. So I started listening to her like in between patients, and that really just over and over and over for over a year or more. And just hearing her messages of, yes, you can, there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't do. That's really what made me get up and say, there's nothing I can't do, and just take one step forward and start the nonprofit and start coaching moms and step out of my comfort zone. And then Les Brown, I listened to him a lot also, and Jim Rohn. Yeah, those 3 really, really broke the mindset of little thinking, small thinking, being afraid of people, and all of that. So
3 of the greats for sure.
Yes. It's amazing that you can get them for free on YouTube. Just listen.
See?
Right there.
Yes. And once you resonate with somebody, then you want to hear more and more and more. And they're all amazing. So last question, big question.
Mhm.
And if you could leave one tip or golden nugget for the people listening, and it was the only thing that you could tell them and your only chance to say that, what would it be?
Perseverance. That's my word.
Perseverance?
Just keep
Absolutely.
one step in front of the other. And you may not know the path. Nobody knows the path really, but you never know until you take the step. Just take one step and just take another one and another one. And the way keeps opening. And if you have to change course, the way opens and it becomes clear to you. But yes, just keep going, even when things don't look like they're working. Yes, you need to examine what's not working, but definitely keep going. Don't like quit. Like quitting is not an option at all. Like take that word out of the dictionary. So
Absolutely. Yeah, because if one way doesn't work, another way will work. And sometimes you
that's
might
right.
have to open a few doors before you find the perfect door.
That's
Yes,
right. But
love
if you
that.
never open the door, you'll never know.
Exactly. And you'll never be fulfilled either.
That's right. And then your kids won't be either.
I know. And then your kid's doctor is going to sit you down and have a conversation with you.
That's right.
Because, look at your kids right now. They know that anything's possible, and mom's going out there and she's doing something outside of her already busy career to
Yeah.
help all of these people. And when you bring them with you, they experience that and they get the gratitude and they get the contribution. And I think it's beautiful that you're involving them in that. And, my youngest, as I'm coming up with Only the Inspired, I would brainstorm with her because she had great ideas. And I'm all, what about this and this and this? And she'd go, ah. And so, she really helped me create a lot of the Only the Inspired because she was the only person at the moment that I was just brainstorming with. And it was great. And so, she has a little bit of ownership in this. And so your kids are also going to do that. And they know. And I think it's going to be a huge connection for them because they're helping other kids of their own age.
That's right. Yes. So my daughter writes the handwritten notes to the kids to put in the bags. So that's great for her to understand and know that there are kids who don't have what she has. There are kids who don't have parents. And so learning empathy, which is one of the most important traits or skills anybody could learn. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And your daughter will grow up knowing that she can put together an amazing business.
Yeah. She's 16 right now, so she's in that phase.
There you go.
But yes, she will know, that we helped, think this up. I think she was 13 years old, 13 years old. And now that she'll see it actually come to life, it's like, I know I could do that. I helped my mom, and I watched it happen before my eyes. And so, yes, when she gets out of her teenage phase,
Well, she's learning, even if she's in the phase, she's still learning.
Absolutely. And they are a sponge. And whether they act like they pay attention to you, they do. They do.
Lots of it.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that you would like to share before we talk about your giveaway?
Oh, no.
No, you're good. So, Dr. Hokehe. She is going to offer a 30-minute session for any moms that want to talk to her, where you might not be living up to your potential, and where you possibly know where that's affecting your kids, or even just if you're in it for yourself and you're not sure what's going on. I'm sure she can help you, brain health and all the studying. And I absolutely love what you're doing. Yay.
Thank you.
And so she has a Calendly link that you could book that. So go to Calendly, CALendly.com/DRHOKEHEFFIONG/discovery call. And I will put that in the giveaways tab. So you could look that up and easily click on that and then book that 30-minute session. So I love what you're doing, and I love that you're going outside of the box, but it is absolutely needed, and you know that it's a ripple effect. And so you're actually going the opposite way of that ripple, right? So you see the small ripples and you're going to the source of that and trying to help that. That is just amazing that you're doing that. And the Kids of Hope, that nonprofit, is amazing. And I'm going to keep that on my radar when we start doing the charities.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, once Only the Inspired gets going, we're donating monthly to charity. So
wonderful.
Yes. And I think that is beautiful. And I feel so sorry for foster kids and kids that live in orphanages. It just breaks my heart because they didn't choose it.
No.
Who was it? Was it Dan Kennedy? There was one of a big author, and he was raised in foster homes, and he was always the positive kid. And, he had a wonderful experience being, as good as you can being a foster kid, right? But yeah, for most kids, it's a tough. I couldn't imagine doing that. I couldn't imagine being in that spot. So I think what you're doing is absolutely beautiful. Yay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, so please, everybody, share this video, share this message, because, it is so important, not only for the kids' health. If the kid's struggling with their health, most likely the parent is too. And so spread this message. Let's get to as many moms as we can. We have at least 1 million that we have to connect.
That's right.
And I totally believe that you could do that. I think that's absolutely beautiful. So thank you, everybody. Make sure you share the interview. And thank you.
It was
so
wonderful being with you. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay, make sure I'm all unmuted and everything. All right. So what was that like for you?
It was interesting watching myself.
That's what
that was a good interview. Yeah.
Well, and I was
it.
just thinking it wasn't Dan Kennedy, it was Wayne Dyer. That was a foster kid, and and everybody would go to him. Yeah, so I was thinking after that, I was like, that's wrong. But it was Wayne Dyer. Yes.
Okay.
I love what you're doing. Lachelle is saying, love perseverance, one step at a time. Joyce said a whole bunch of stuff in here. And Joyce is also a doctor. She's a psychologist, or a psychiatrist. I'm not sure, but she's absolutely amazing. So, she's saying you're so right about the connection between parent and child health. And she said, sadly, foster children are often invisible tragedies in our society, and people don't understand the foster system. They think once children are placed in foster care that they are saved. And then she also says, so true. Often we do not realize how a touch or a word we say or give can impact a life, can impact another life. Yes, absolutely. And, just I want to hug from the little kids. Oh my gosh, that's heartbreaking. So, for anybody watching this interview, please put questions in the chat, and I am going to put in under the giveaways tab. It's in the Only the Inspired Coach Summit group. Under the announcements, you'll see the guy swinging his jacket. It says giveaways. That is where all of the contact information is for all of the coaches. And so I will have the Calendly link in there for her if you take her up on this. And we were talking a little bit about what some of her plans are. And so you want to create an online office, basically, telehealth. Yeah. And then is that you're going to have the
Correct.
coaching kind of as part of that? Yeah. So when do you think
In the
that's
next
going to
month?
happen?
Yeah.
Yay. Good for you. And it's so much work, isn't it? Trying to get it done, but
Yes.
that'll just be amazing. And like I said, I think you are a blessing. I love what you're doing, not only just with the moms, but with the nonprofit also. That's just a beautiful, super
Thank you.
beautiful thing that you're doing. Yay. So do you want to share anything else? I stump people with that. I stump people with that question. Yeah, I'm just super excited. And so do you have any tips? Like if you could give 3 tips for parents to help themselves and their kids right now, whether that be diet or mental, what would you
Okay,
say?
so number one, I would say is spend time together as a family, because even something as simple as cooking with your kids, and that question can be answered, that can answer the nutrition question too. So if you and your kids pick out like foods from the rainbow, like the reds, the yellows, all those fruits and veggies, and cook them together. So there's a couple of things. There's the bonding that happens between you and your child. You and your child are cooking healthy food. Both of you are going to improve your nutrition together. The child is learning how to cook from you. It's just on any way you look at it, the child is learning, and just the closeness, it does more for the child than you ever know. I am writing a book about it'll be out in a few weeks. It's about children's love letters, how children spell love. There's so many ways children spell love, and if you don't recognize it, then you miss it. So, like I always say, children need attention. So they're either going to get it positively or negatively. So it's up to us as parents how we respond to our children and not react to them, which is easier said than done. Even I am working on myself. But if we recognize that, if we just remember that the reason they're doing this behavior is because they want attention, then we will be able to respond better. So, for example, if a child is not doing what you ask them to do, or yeah, so if they're not doing what you ask them to do, and you say, okay, why didn't you do that? Instead of just screaming, why don't you ever listen to me, or why don't you get this right? How about if you just said, so I noticed you didn't do this. Is there a reason why? I mean, like, just trying to get that conversation going, and you find out more than you ever thought possible. Or just reacting to them with calmness when they're throwing a fit. You stay calm, they will feed off of you, and they will lessen, and you will calm down. But if you go in there yelling, they're gonna keep yelling, and it never gets better. So a lot of it lays at the foot of the parents. Just recognizing that kids need the attention, and it's the way you respond to them that they'll keep doing. Because if they find that the only time you look at them or pay attention to them is when they're doing something wrong, then they keep doing wrong things. So as parents, there's a chapter in there that I talk about putting your phone away and just eye contact. I mean, my 3-year-old takes my phone and says, "Mommy, read to me," and puts my phone somewhere else and hands me the book. So I have two choices. I either am going to shut her down and get my phone back, because it's like I have to be with the phone, or I'm just going to push her on my lap and read to her. And the amazing thing is that the times when I've chosen to read to her, I find that then I say, "Oh, can you give mommy 5 minutes?" And she's more likely to do it than if I shove her away. She's going to come right back and then bug me some more, or do something to really get me going. So I know those are more than 3 tips, but yeah.
No, I think that's beautiful. And like you said, there's several lessons in the whole cooking thing. It's spending time. You're teaching them how to cook. You're cooking healthy things, and yeah, you're connecting with them. Do you? I'm curious as a coach to parents, if you look at the love languages for kids, because all kids are different. And I'm wondering, because they're all, you know, they're all completely different. And as parents, any insights that we have to our kids that would help us be better parents, yay. Because and that is a simple thing. And sometimes we don't understand what their love language is or even what our love language is. And if you could speak that specifically to each one of those kids, that'll make a huge impact.
Right. So, yep. And that's why I wrote the book I wrote, because I myself struggled with it for the longest time, about knowing how to really respond to my children and what I needed to do.
Oh, the internet shut down. Technology, huh? So I saw Miss Cory Jenkins. I'm sure she'll be back. So we can do that. I don't know what happened to her internet. So hello. I'm going to bring up Miss Cory Jenkins. Hi, beautiful.
Hello, how are you?
Good, and I'm not sure if she's coming back or not. She said she was having internet issues, but luckily it went pretty good when we were doing our interview. So how's your and I'm just gonna, I think I might just hide her since she's gone. I just want you guys to make sure if you have any questions for Dr. Hokehe, that you put them in the chat or reach out to her in the Facebook group. I absolutely love what she's doing, and I think it's something very unique, and I think she's going to help a lot of people. So where are you at, Miss Traveler?
I am house sitting for these cute little kitties.
That
Already
is
wanted to say hi.
That is a very big kitty. Oh my gosh.
Yes. He's a sweetheart. I'm in Utah, and my friends live up against the east bench of the Wasatch Front in just above Salt Lake City.
Oh,
and
nice.
Yeah, so I have this gorgeous house to myself for, a week at a time every once in a while when I want to come visit my friends here. It's awesome what you can manifest when you just put it out there.
Exactly. This is the traveling coach. That is one of her happy places, is traveling and doing all sorts of stuff. And so I'm super excited about her interview, and I didn't even put your date. I've been slacking. So I think we recorded it this month, and then let's make sure we say hello. So internet,
sorry.
Hello.
That's okay. And I was hoping we could say goodbye to you. Yeah.
Yes.
But I wasn't sure on the internet thing. So yeah.
That's okay. Thank you so much for having me on.
You are very welcome. And and I encourage everybody to reach out to you to schedule that time slot for you if they have any questions, for sure. And you're just a blessing. I appreciate you very much.
Yes, I appreciate you too. Have a wonderful day.
You too. All right. We will talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Yeah, I love what she's doing. I think that's awesome. But so I was hoping to see you. Did you go through Reno at all?
Not yet. No, that's this coming Sunday maybe, or possibly Monday. I'm helping a friend out because she's redoing her house. And so since I can schedule myself whenever, and my mom doesn't need me there at any specific time, it's wonderful to be able to be here and help my friend out. So she just lives 45 minutes south of me here. And so I stay between friends' houses, and Saturday we all got together for a hot tub and sushi night, and it's just been an awesome vacation visit. And drive across the country from Florida.
And drive across the country.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I got to see my aunts, and I've gotten to see best friends from college, and spent the weekend or a couple days with each of those. And it was just awesome. And now I get to pick up my mom and drive her home to hopefully Florida. We'll see. She might stop in St. Louis and just stay with my aunt and fly home from there. It's wonderful just to be able to, create it as you go along.
Well, and if you could take your time doing that,
Yeah.
Because I have driven across the country a couple times, but it was like, hurry up, from California to Florida and then back here to Nevada. And, it was on a time crunch. So if you could take your time and not,
Rush
put the
through
pedal
it
to
and
the metal
everything.
and see how much energy drinks your body could possibly handle.
Oh yeah, the first day was like that. It was insane because I went straight from Florida all the way to St. Louis, which is a 15-hour drive, and I was just impressed. I made it the whole way. I was like, it was awesome. And yeah, so I had a blast turning on, like, I think I listened to Girl Wash Your Face. I'm like, it's so amazing how similar her book is kind of to mine. Because I listened to a few in kind of studying what I'm up to and, taking everything always as that Kaizen and never ending improvement mentality. I just keep listening to audios along the way. I've listened to 2 or 3 books so far, and I've got Dare to Lead by Brene Brown up next.
I'm listening to that one. I love
Oh,
her.
how funny.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I've got a few in the pipeline because I've got such a long drive. It's awesome to be able to turn the car into the university. Yeah.
Audible's my friend. I fall asleep when I read, so Audible's my friend. And you can do it. It's like Tony Robbins says, it's net time, no extra time, because you're already driving, you're already doing something.
Yeah.
And so you can multitask right then and there. So awesome. All right. So are you ready to watch your interview, young lady?
Sure.
All right. So we're going to watch that. I'll have you mute your microphone. And then if anybody has any questions for Miss Cory in the chat, please put them in the chat, and then I'll bring her back up, and then we'll answer some questions there. So we will see you guys shortly. Mute your phone and mic, and then we'll see you here in a sec.
Thanks.
Hello, everybody. This is Robin Leslie with OnlyThenSpired.com doing another amazing interview today. Today, I have the beautiful Miss Cory Jenkins, and so I can't wait to get into this interview and find out what she's about. So, in a couple of minutes, describe who you are and how you help people.
Thanks, Robin, for having me, first of all. And I am actually what I call the Love You to Life coach. So I help people really learn how loving themselves can enliven their life. And I wrote a book called I Love Myself So ... The point of the dots, the ellipsis there, is what are you going to do about it? What is it that loving yourself inspires you to do, to take care of yourself? And how does that affect your life? How can you use that to affect your life in an amazing way? And I just love taking people through that process and getting to see that spark in their eye when they start to make that shift and realize they get to tell the story of their lives now, and they get to be in the driver's seat of their life. It's wonderful.
Yay. So how did you get started in that? Was it one event or a series of events that happened?
It was a series of events. It wasn't what I saw myself doing. The funny thing, I didn't see myself as an author at all in high school. I wanted to skip out of English. But, and in college, I have a minor in French because I did not want to take French composition. And here I am writing a book. And now I'm writing another book. kind of the sequel to I Love Myself So, which is a guide to creating a life you love, is Love You to Life, which comes out of the course that I teach. And 20 something years ago, my mom was like, hey, I think you should take this self-development. I took this course forever ago in a different iteration, and I just really want you guys, me and my brother, to take this. So she sent us through it, and that just turned me on to this whole new life. I decided to travel instead of, I was ready at that time in my early 20s to buy a house. She's like, do you really want to buy a house here? I mean, are you sure? Have you traveled enough? Because she knew that she wanted to live in California, which she does now. We're from St. Louis. And so it just started this series of events. And in my early 20s, she took me to France to celebrate graduating college.
Wow.
20 years ago, I had that idea, or a little somewhere around there. I had this idea, I want to live in France. So I studied and I did all the things that I needed to do to interview to work in France for the summer. And then I got there and I interviewed, and I really just didn't love the feeling with the guy that I was interviewing with. And I'm like, I don't want to spend a summer like this. This wasn't my dream. So it shifted. My brother and I went on this amazing adventure together, extended our trip, and just made it a fun trip instead of a work trip. And I waited and I waited. And in the back of my mind, that goal was working. And lots of things happened in my life, obviously. But the strongest push towards me starting to teach people how to really love themselves to life was I didn't end up having kids in my marriage. And I thought that that's what I had studied all this stuff to do. I sold nutritional products I sold Juice Plus for 20 years, took all this nutritional education, was on the path to becoming a certified natural health practitioner and basically a self-development sales coach. And I'm like, I get to train amazing humans. This is going to be awesome. Oh, wait, I'm not going to have kids. I got divorced. Now what? And that is what made me realize I went through a couple of more courses at that time in my life, more to get through the divorce. I didn't even realize that they were going to lead me on this path. And one of them was about being a trainer. And I started writing my book in that course. And then I was like, okay, so I have all these goals. I want to invest in real estate. I want to do all this stuff. So let's get that done. So I took the next 10 years and I went to work on me and creating the life that I love. And after that 10 years, I'm out of debt. I paid off, I have 3 houses. And I'm like, okay, now it's time. Now I get to quit my job and I'm going to take that trip that I thought about 20 years ago and I'm going to live in France. And I did it for 4 months. And I didn't just live in France. I did the backpack across Europe trip that I always dreamt of too. 16 countries. And it was amazing while I was writing the book, or I should say finishing the book, because I started writing it before the 10-year mark, changed the title to really encompass what I was up to. And it wasn't just about health, it was about life. So I love myself so, what are you going to do about it? Really spoke to me. And that is the path that led me to then writing a workbook to go with it, because in the back of the chapters, there are action steps. But I'm like, well, some people want to be able to write that out. So not only did I create the workbook, but I lived the workbook my next summer in Europe. Spent 3 summers now, not this summer because of COVID, but the 3 summers prior to that, I spent living that dream over and over again in different iterations. I found a place to house sit through friends in England and friends in Greece and friends in France and Vienna and Ireland and Munich and just all over the world through this living my dream life. And that is when I wrote the workbook, which then begat the course, because I was like, well, some people like to go through this in person. And that was my original intent, was to be a trainer. I really want this to be, an in-person kind of a group coaching experience, really giving the goods to people live versus, or at least videoed, versus just in a book. So that was the progression. And then have a few, one-on-one clients, because some people want that one-on-one versus group coaching.
Right.
And it just makes a bigger impact when you're one-to-one with someone and you can just address them. So I created this whole curriculum out of this dreams, that dream life that I've created. And the book takes you through that creation of my dream life in a way that teaches you how to go for your dream life versus my dream life. It's not, I'm going to train you how to invest in real estate and I'm going to train you how to travel all over the world. It's, let's figure out what you want and get you there. And it starts with loving you enough to figure out what you want.
Very cool. What an adventurous story. So what's your favorite country so far?
Oh, I have to say France because I speak French, and that has, it was my dream. And I got best experience ever was someone giving me the keys to their flat a block away from Chateau de Vincennes, over a vegan restaurant, next to a boulangerie, a patisserie, a cafe, a little grocery store. I mean, it was just like the quintessential French experience. But then I had the quintessential English experience living in this tiny Cotswold town. My biggest surprise, though, was Croatia. I had no idea that I wanted to go there until all of these people in my life just kept showing up as I'm traveling, doing that 16-country tour. You gotta go to Croatia. That's my dream place. I'm like, really? Croatia, huh? It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. But so was Greece. So was the south of France. There's just so many beautiful places in the world, and it's what you bring to it that makes it enjoyable. So out of traveling so much, I realized I could live anywhere and be happy, because it's who you are that makes you happy, not where you are, not anyone else. It's you. And it was just a great coming to my own experience the last 3 years. And then I moved to Florida, which was, I always wanted to live on the beach or by the beach and just have that experience, and it's been amazing. So
Wow, what a beautiful story. That's awesome. So describe your ultimate vision for your business.
So my mission is to spread this wave of love that passes beyond me, loving me and the people that I work with, but their love for their lives and themselves, passing that on just by virtue of maybe just a smile as they walk down the street that infects another person in a great way. And that smile, just passing that love on and on and on, so that it's a worldwide wave of love. And I see that through this course, through my mastermind, and then I have a vacation experience coming up where we get to train on the court, really loving life, which is going to be amazing. And then just through building that group of people, those Love You to Life ambassadors, having that wave just grow and grow and grow and morph into something amazing that I can't even imagine. I always, in setting goals with my clients, it's like, you got to add that or more or better. There's so much more out there than you can imagine, and you don't know what you don't know. So I love leaving it open to the universe contributing its little spin that makes it a win.
Absolutely. Well, and you get to color it as it goes. Yay.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious if you find people thinking that loving themselves is selfish.
A lot of people think that, but you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you don't take time to take care of you, and you don't learn how to love you, how can you really love anyone else if you haven't set the example with yourself? So that's really what loving yourself for me is about. It's about learning how to love others and how to accept love. If you are deflecting even love from yourself, you're never going to accept love from another. Or vice versa, if you're looking to fill that void with somebody else, and at the same time you're deflecting the love they're trying to give you, they're trying to pour in a cup that has a big hole in it. So you got to patch all your holes before you can receive love. And that way you can fill up your cup so that it's pouring over to give to others. And the more you give, it's just this amazing reciprocity of life. They call it karma. You can call it whatever you want, but the more you add to others, the more it comes back to you, so that your cup keeps getting overflowing. And if you don't give and you just hoard it for yourself, you start to shrivel. And just, it's like that whole hole in your cup. If you're hoarding all the goodness for yourself when you get it, instead of sharing it with others, whatever it might be. You know, it could be you win something. And instead of taking a couple people with you to the restaurant that you got a certificate to, you go by yourself. Well, how boring is that? You know, the more you share, the more you like get to enjoy life.
Mm-hmm.
So when you really look at loving yourself, it's about being ready to be there for others, because you can't really be there for others without being there for yourself first. Putting the mask on yourself first before you put it on your kids. It's not that you love your kids any less than yourself, right? It's that you love your kids enough to take care of yourself so you're there for them. Or a friend. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I think a lot of people kind of struggle with, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy to love myself or have somebody else love me. So I love what you're doing, because that's wrong programming, and that could stem from childhood or whatever. But the I'm not worthy thing can overrun people. So I love that you're helping people get over that.
Yeah,
So,
I had that was like one of my biggest challenges, was getting over that and getting out of my own way, and really writing a book. You know, that's, some people see that as conceited and who are you to, and like, you know, I just want to give. It's not about me being smarter than anyone else. And it's not about that I have some, you know, amazing knowledge that I created. All of this was gifted to me by other people. I just want to be a good steward of the information that I'm given, because I might reach someone nobody else could reach by virtue of my perfect imperfection. You know, who I am just attracts them. Whereas somebody else with the exact same information, they're not attracted to that person. So they wouldn't have learned from them. But because I'm there, they now got to learn. So really, I help people get out of their own way, like I did.
Perspectives are exactly what makes us different. And that was my next question, is what beliefs do you have that set you apart from your competition? And I'm a collaboration, not a competition person. But so what other beliefs do you have that set you apart from everybody else? Because we all have our unique perspectives or place that we're coming from.
Yeah, and I really think that a lot of people take a lot of time to focus on the past and create based on overcoming the past. And I really like to take the standpoint of creating from the future. So I get people into that creation mode of, if you could have it all, what would it be? And coming from there, coming from this amazing future, who would you have to be to get there? And it's a little bit of a different spin. I do get into, you know, removing the limiting beliefs, but I don't start there, because I want people to start with something amazing and then clear out everything that isn't amazing, but have that focused on what they want. So I think that is a little bit different, because so many people start with the limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what was the hardest thing to overcome when starting your business?
That belief that, well, who wants to hear what I have to say? You know, what makes me not better, but that's what I was thinking I had to be. You know, like, I have to be better than all these other people. I have to be perfect to share my message. I can't like be flawed and, you know, share this, because people are gonna be like, what does she think she is sharing this message? Who is she? And so I had to get over that, because like I said earlier, in one of the chapters of my book was me getting over that. It's called Perfectly Imperfect. And that is one of my favorite things. I hadn't heard it before, but now I have. So I don't know who created it. I don't care. I just love it. And then for me, that is the idea that, yes, I'm flawed. And we all are in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those flaws that make me perfect to share to certain people. You know, maybe it's that young girl who was molested as a kid, like I was, and she needs someone that understands where she's coming from. I might not have been, you know, as a traumatic experience as she did, but at least I can get where she's coming from. And, you know, if a man delivering the same talk to her might not have the same impact,
Mm-hmm.
or a man coaching her might not have the same impact. So I had to get over myself in order to be there for the people that really resonate with me. And that's what a lot of people have to do in their life, is get over themselves so that they can really grow into who they were meant to be. Because without getting over yourself, you're just going to keep this ceiling on yourself and keep hitting it until you let it go. So that's my goal, to let that go so you can grow.
Gotcha. Well, and a lot of people, like you were saying, you have to be perfect, and to actually show any flaws is a sign of weakness. But for one, it's freeing to show your flaws because we all have them. For two, other people are going to connect with that. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you just told me that you've been molested as a little kid, because I think 1 out of every 3 that is. And I'm one of those. And when I finally came out of the closet and said, this happened to me, I come out with it because I'm not attached to it anymore. And then other people, it's like, oh my gosh. So, and that is what really connects people. It's like, thank you for being honest, because I thought this was a deep, dark secret that we don't ever come out with. But now that you came out with your imperfection, now I could totally trust you and resonate with you. And so that is, the ugliness sometimes is the perfect part that you have to show. And that is what is going to connect everybody else. So I appreciate you being honest about that. Yay. And it's that self-talk and getting over that. So I love that you're helping people do that. So do you have the support network of friends and family encouraging you to do this? Or is this something you feel compelled to do? Because I'm not sure what you went to school for, and this could be a totally different path than what you got a degree in or whatever,
my mom has always supported whatever I wanted to do, and my family is very, supportive. My friends were, I can't think of one that was, maybe they were like, really? The only thing that they weren't, I had a couple that are like, you're too Pollyanna for me. You're too happy. So I'm like, well, I can't help that. I don't want to.
Sorry, get used to it.
Yeah, just keep getting used to it, because it's going to keep happening. And not that I am, oh boy, am I not perfect in that way, and I went through that period where I was working on me was actually a time where I stopped taking self-development courses, and that negativity, because I went to work with a group, and it was a great group of people, and I was in sales as a director of sales, but that negativity just creeped in around me. And after, 7 years, I finally let a little bit of it in, and I'm like, oh, I need to get out of this place. But really, it was amazing, that a diamond doesn't become a diamond without pressure. Mm-hmm. And for me, that pressure is what made me realize that it was time to live my dream. I'd accomplished what I needed to accomplish. The job has served an amazing purpose. And now it was time to live the rest of my purpose. And that's when I made a plan, executed the plan, quit my job, and rented out my house, my car. And at that time, because I'd stepped into that nothing, right? I just jumped off the cliff and took that leap. The perfect job showed up for me that I could do while I traveled Europe. So it was an amazing turn of events. And I know it was out of my focus on what I wanted and sharing that with others and really growing it into existence. And one of the chapters is how to get your goals to work on you. And that is through, that process that I went through is what I share, and how to really enroll the world in what you're up to so that the path is clearer and easier and has a lot of support along the way. So I have really enrolled a support structure, not just with my family and friends from before, but now I have friends all over the world. It's just amazing. And some of them have been in the course with me, bought my book, or they were part of the book. A couple that I ran into along the way, like inspired stories out of the book. So it's been an amazing journey. So yes, I do have a great support structure.
Beautiful. Yay. What a great story. So what is your favorite thing about your business?
Seeing the change when people, like, seeing someone like get it and have that breakthrough. It's so awesome. Just to see, like, I think I mentioned this, just the light in their eyes when it happens, you know, when they finally get that they get to create their life and they get to take control and they get to choose how to react versus having a reaction based on being that victim in life. You know, that victim mentality where, oh, well, this happened, so I have to, or I can't. All those words that are debilitating, we just work to remove them. And when they change those words around into empowering words and seeing them like talk about this amazing future that they're creating, or seeing them achieve something in that amazing future, like plan, and they come back and they're talking about it, I'm like, that, it's just so enriching for me. And it's the whole reason I do it. Like, if that never happened, I would not be doing this because it would be so boring and unrewarding. You know, the money doesn't matter as much as those stories and those experiences with those people.
The changes that you're making and giving them possibilities when they might not have thought there was possibilities.
Right. They've been stuck in, I just can't do that. That's just not me. And once they break through and see a way to do what they want and see who they have to become, you know, who they get to be now in their life because they said so, and realizing that they get to choose, they get to write the story of their life. And it's this amazing, empowering, like, because we do it on Zoom or in person. And so I get to see physical reactions and it's awesome. So I do love it in person, but I've gotten used to Zoom and I can still see that brightness that lights up in their eyes. Best experience was having someone do an exercise and they were crying. They couldn't see anything. And then that moment that they saw something and they let go of all of that yuck and their light in their eyes, they were just like, you know, that feeling, just taking that deep breath and just letting all the stress go and giving in to, you know, the moment. And it was just awesome. So I just love those moments.
That is beautiful. So what inspires you? What are you passionate about? And it doesn't have to be business.
People. I love meeting new people. I mean, that's why I did this 3-year excursion on my own mostly. And I was never alone very often because I would, you know, most people that travel, they do it, they go stay in a hotel and do the normal thing. My excursion was almost anything but normal. I mean, there were normal parts, you know, I had to stay in a castle to celebrate, you know, having reached my goal and done all this and written the book and published the book, gotten #1. And I took a cruise, that's very normal. But then the rest of it, I stayed with friends, I stayed with family sometimes, and I did a US back and forth, not just it's just a different feel at a hostel. So I really love traveling in a different way. So you feel almost like a local, or at least you meet some locals and get to see that side of life in another country. So I'm passionate about travel, obviously. and then I love to sing and dance. I swing dancing, salsa, two-step, pretty much anything. And one of my favorite things about Paris is every night of the week down on the Seine, there are these 4 arenas, like amphitheaters, outdoor amphitheaters that open up straight to the water. So if you dance too close, you could fall in. And there's dancing every single night of the week for free. Just you go down there, there's someone playing music. You might tip the, you know, DJ, but other than that, it's free. So
Very cool.
I love it. Yeah.
Was that scary, going to hostels and doing all that kind of stuff all by yourself?
There was only one time that I remember being a little bit scared. And it was my first night in Croatia because I knew I wasn't going to speak the language. It was totally on my own. I was staying at a hostel that I didn't know. And I got off at the station, and I was like, okay, here we go. I have to find my hotel in a place I don't know. And I ended up walking to the pharmacy because I wanted to get some supplements. And the lady spoke English, and she was just amazing. And she told me which train to take to get to the hostel. And then I get there, and I don't see the hostel. And I'm like, okay. So someone's walking by, and I'm like, well, let's hope they speak English. But they didn't know where the hostel was. They were very generous and looking with me. And all of a sudden, you know, I look up, and there's this big, huge sign on a walkway, like one of those skyways. And that's where the hostel was. It was part of this skyway between an office building and an apartment complex. And then there was just this huge hostel inside of it that was really nice, but kind of hidden in plain sight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had several random experiences, you know, just trying to get around in Croatia without speaking the language, but everybody was so generous. And it was just a testament to like finding what you look for. In my life, I've always looked for amazing people, happy people, helpful people, and I find them. And so many people go out looking for, oh, those people are awful, and they believe the stories that they hear about maybe France. They're so rude. That's a very common one. And I've never experienced that. I mean, I've seen rude people, but no more than I see in the US and England and wherever else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it really, yeah, I wasn't really scared because I knew I was going to be okay. And that knowing, you know, and that attitude got me through.
Awesome. Yay.
Mhm.
So who inspires you?
So many people. My mom, for one, raising two kids. You know, my dad was there, but he was like an every like on the weekends dad. And she put herself through college, had job and college and two kids. It was just amazing what she did to make sure that we were okay. Got us into the best school system in St. Louis. You know, littlest house she could find or cheapest house she could find in the best school system is where she put us. And she just worked her butt off to take us to the next level, making sure that we had what we needed to succeed in life. My grandma was amazing, just the person that she was. So there are a lot of people, I mean, my dad and his singing, because he's the reason I speak French and sing pretty much. And then my Aunt Betty, she is this free spirit that loves to travel. And she just pick up and go and move to California or this or that. And I think I got that spirit from her and my mom. So it's just, there are people out there, you know, in the personal development world that inspire me as well, but it started at home. So obviously with my mom kicking me off to the first personal development seminar that I went to, I have her to thank for that. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Good, good. So last question, big question. If you could leave one tip or golden nugget for the people listening, and it was the only thing you could say and your only chance to say it, what would that be?
It would be to realize that you write the story of your life in the words that you speak to yourself, to others, and in the choices that you make in your reactions to the world and what happens to you. Because nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. So why not give it an empowering meaning? You know, when that person cuts you off in traffic, you don't know what their story is. And haven't you ever done that before? Couldn't you just give them grace and relax so that you don't raise your cortisol level? There's no reason to get frustrated in life if you turn all of those frustrations into fascinations. And you really look at, how could I take from this something that will grow me, inspire me, and support me in what I'm up to? And if you look at every situation as an opportunity to learn and grow and write an amazing story of your life, it will reframe and change your perspective. And sometimes that's all it takes to have an amazing life, is changing your perspective. It's one of the reasons that I chose, you know, when I take a picture, I took this picture on the front of my book, and it is from the ground up so that you can see those flowers are actually planted in the ground in front of the Eiffel Tower. So to get that picture, you can imagine I had to be either on the ground. I choose not to get on the ground all the time, but I do get down and dirty when I have to get a picture that's really interesting to me. This one I actually took through my legs, like literally bent down and looked backwards. The Eiffel Tower's over there. So you can put your phone on the ground that way. And you get a little dizzy when you get up, but it's worth it because I love these pictures. And sometimes just changing your perspective, turning yourself on end, gives you that opportunity to look at something in a new way. And maybe that person that cut you off was actually trying to get to their mom or their wife who's having a baby in the hospital, right? Their mom might be dying, their wife might be having a baby. You never know, right? So just give others grace in life, because you got to think, karma comes back to you. And when you are trying to get to someone's side, you would want people to let you over, let you through, be that person for others, and it will come back. And really write the story of your life that you want versus reacting to life like everybody else does, or you think you should. Choose to write your story in a way that works for you and really take the time for you to figure out what that is. So that's my little choose your attitude. You can say it so many ways, but it really does make a huge difference, because you can choose to be right about something, to be frustrated, or you can choose to be happy, and it is your choice. So choose properly.
Yes, that is beautiful. I love you saying take your frustrations and turn them into fascinations. And
I think that was like Zig Ziglar or Jim Rohn.
Oh, really? I've never heard that. I like that.
Yeah, I was one of the greats, and I took Jim's year-long program before he passed away, and I love listening to those people, because there's so many ideas like that come down, from generations, and like Napoleon Hill and all the old greats said all these amazing things before we were ever born.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just continue to grow those messages and to make them your own, but really they need to be shared, because so many people haven't heard them, even though they've been around forever, right?
Yep. And when you're talking about the frustrations with people driving, so, somebody will cut you off, and then instantly almost you get pissed at them. It's like, what a jerk. And then within 15 minutes, you accidentally cut off somebody. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And you're trying to wait. It's like, okay, that's putting it in
and
perspective.
Sometimes, put it into perspective. Like, it could be a mirror. A lot of the times when you get frustrated, I noticed this, especially in my relationship with my mom. She helped me edit my book. And while we were going through that process, it's your mom. And when your mom's telling you something doesn't work, you could take it like, ah. But we made an agreement that I wouldn't do that, that I would accept what she had to say, listen, and take it in. And it transformed our relationship. We already had a good relationship, but now it's like, amazing. And she's actually going to travel across the country with me for like the third or fourth time now, provided that she doesn't get scared off by Florida right now. But it's amazing. The other day, instead of getting frustrated with her anymore, we're able to go, oh yeah, I do that, just let her be, you just let it go. And so we've had all these amazing journeys before and after. But the other day, she's on the phone with me, and she's like, Cory, I was looking at my fridge the other day, and it used to be pictures of me and your Aunt Betty going all over the world, and me and Anne. And now it's pictures of me and you. And I just love it. And I'm like, oh, that's so awesome.
That is super cool.
Yeah. Gets me a little bit.
Yay. That's awesome. And one more thing I have to share about the picture, right? So you don't want to necessarily lay on the ground in a touristy place.
A bed of dirt.
Yeah, we were in Vegas, and we were standing in front of, I don't know if it was Paris. It was one of the tall tall
Right, tall
buildings,
building.
right? And so we couldn't get the picture. There's no way you could get us and the picture in front. And so some random person walked by and said, I'll take a picture. And they actually laid on the ground on the Las Vegas Strip where there's gum and
Awesome.
everything else is so dirty. It's like, oh my gosh, a complete stranger laid on the ground to get this awesome picture. It's like, that was just
Great.
incredible that they did that. So yay. Anyways.
It's so great when you meet awesome people like that are just generous. You know, I would have turned upside down and you would have been looking at my bum taking the picture, but it would have been, you know, straight up.
You don't
So-
have big smiles on your face though, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. All right.
Yeah,
So
people totally laugh at me when I do that.
yeah. You are gonna give away it's a challenge. It's a you can have it all challenge, right? Do you
Right.
want to talk about that for just a second?
Yeah. So the You Can Have It All challenge takes you through the foundational principles in my book. And it really gives you an opportunity to figure out what having it all means to you and why you would want what you're thinking of having, right? And then who you would have to be to get there. Then we create a blueprint to get there and really give you kind of a roadmap, so to speak, for having it all. And it really is different for every single person that's gone through the course, because your having it all doesn't at all reflect the same thing as my having it all, or, you know, you're having it all, anyone. So it's all different. And I love the stories and the responses that I've gotten. When they go to that website, they'll actually see a couple of short testimonials about what people have gotten. And just one of them that I really liked what she said was, she just like, if you just want to be your best you, this is a great thing to do. So
that is
just
awesome.
get the spark back in your step, get the spring, you know, the sparkle in your eye. It's great for people that are just kind of, they're feeling stuck, or they're on that verge of that next big project. And for me, you know, creating this whole course, I went through my workbook to work through what I needed to work through and create my project. So it really does help to have someone walking you through some steps to get there. That's what we do.
Absolutely. Yay. So to get that, you're going to go to challenge.ilovemyselfso.com. So it's CHALLENGEDOTILOVEMYSELFSO.com. Yes.
Yep.
And then you could sign up, and then she'll send you the link for the Facebook group to join that challenge. So I think that's an awesome giveaway. Yay.
Great.
Thank you so much for being here. And you're getting ready to go on another road trip all the way to California from Florida.
Yes. Get to see my aunt and my mom. Last year, I brought my aunt to my mom and she flew home, and my mom to my aunt and she flew home. Now I'm going to drive and see my aunt, then go get my mom and bring her to my aunt's.
Very
crazy.
cool. And it's
gonna be
possible. It's possible she might be cruising through Reno, and then you know, we can meet face to face instead of like 3,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Very cool. So thank you, everybody. Please share this video. So many of us struggle with I'm not worthy enough for love, and that includes our own love. And so we all need to get over that, because that's a BS story. It's a BS story, and we don't need to do that. And so if you don't know how to get out of that, this is the perfect kind of challenge to learn how to realize that you are absolutely lovable, and you have to love yourself first, and find out what the ... is. I love
Yes.
So,
what are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do about it? We're all going to travel the world with Cory.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So please share this video. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you very much, Cory, for being here. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin. It was wonderful to chat with you. And I look forward to meeting you in person.
Absolutely. And definitely hit me up for sure. So bye, everybody. We will see you later.
Hello.
Hello.
We're back.
Hello. So how was that for you?
It was fun watching it and realizing all the stuff that we talked about. And I'm excited to come into town. Actually, I'll be there twice, so you might get to meet my mom as well, because she'll be coming back through with me. We decided to take the northern route, given the hurricanes that are hitting the southern route. We figured we'd just avoid that and come around the top and hit Flaming Gorge instead.
Perfect.
So it's going to be exciting.
Well, and California is on fire.
Thank God she did not get evacuated. They said that the threat to Santa Cruz is pretty much gone, which I'm immensely happy about. So super excited that she's safe. I was like, if you need to evacuate, just come on over to Utah. But she didn't have to. Yeah.
Right. Oh, well, that's good. Yeah. So just, I think I gave you my number. So make sure you reach out to me. Sunday night or Monday night.
Awesome.
Good for me. Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I hope people take you up on your challenge. I think that's awesome that you're doing that. And for everybody here, if you have any questions for Miss Cory, please hit her up in the Facebook group. I will put the link to her challenge in the announcements tab where I have all the giveaways. And yeah, I love everything that you're doing. I love that you're a traveler. Let's say hi to Rish.
Oh, cool. Hello.
How you doing, my friend?
Okay,
Are you
there
muted?
you go.
You might. Oh, there you go.
Hey.
I am super excited about just trying to find where it's not. I have a logo right here, so it's like right on his face. So we're good. I am super excited about Rish's interview. He's, there's so many coaches out there. There's so many women out there that coach women or coach moms. And so he's on the opposite end. He is a dad coach. And what he's talking about is so important. And it's not only just for dads, but how we have to change how little boys are raised because it's not quite the even playing field. And so when it comes to emotions and stuff like that, so it's a very important topic, and I'm super excited that he's here. Yay. Yes. And he's going to be one of the coaches on onlytheinspired.com. Woo!
So Cory, like I just sent you a request too, but where in Utah? It's funny because I'm actually going to Utah this weekend.
Oh, how fun. Whereabouts are you headed?
Very excited. This like a Zion, Bryce. Yeah, nice. We are staying around like the Zion area. So yeah.
You will love it. That is.
I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Got to do Angel's Landing. It is the best.
We thought about it, but then now looks like there's like at least more than 100 visitors at a time. And there's like a 1 hour 45 minutes on average wait just to go up there to take pictures because everyone wants to take the pictures.
Oh, dang.
Next time.
Maybe you can go super early in the morning and get it done.
We'll see.
Yeah, good luck because it's a gorgeous hike. So is the Delicate Arch and in Arches if you're going that way. That's way up.
Oh, no, this time we are staying on the southern side, but yeah, definitely we'll plan something, but yeah.
I'm actually up in the north end. I'm above Salt Lake City. I'll be above and below Salt Lake City all week because I have a couple condos up here. So I'm meeting some renters that I haven't met yet on Friday because they just moved in while I was in Florida. So that's exciting. And going to see some of my old renters that I haven't seen in a year or two tonight. And just met with my other renters last night. So it's just been a fun seeing friends. In Utah all over. So I went hiking with one of my clients because she signed up for my challenge and did the Love You to Life course and she's in my mastermind. So it's awesome to have friends and clients and family all over the world that you can tap into. Yeah. And where are you from?
I'm currently in Michigan.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Summer is beautiful. Winter.
I hear ya.
Yeah. Amy Harrison, she's a relationship coach and she's coming on after Rish today and she is in Utah. And she is friends with Dwayne Crabtree,
Wow.
who's also in Utah.
Utah strong.
So that's their, yeah. So that's very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Michigan. My whole family was born
Yeah, I
in
remember. Yeah.
Grand Rapids, Michigan, except for me. I was hatched in New York, but I remember the winters. I remember one year we couldn't open our front door. There was so much snow on the outside. And the last time I went there, I think I was 16, and I didn't realize all the rust on all of the cars from all the salt in the road. Oh, huge
It's the streets,
rust.
everything.
So you would think that, yeah, you would think that classic cars would be worth a lot
It's the
more there
streets,
in
yes.
Michigan.
Crazy.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, Miss Cory. I am gonna hide you. For everybody, yeah, please reach out to Cory. Make sure you take her up on her 5-day challenge. I love what she's doing. Thank you so much for being
actually
here,
go
sister.
to Levy to Life Coach on Facebook, and I'll be posting. I'm going to actually, this is new. I'm going to do the challenge live instead of just recorded come September. So they'll be able to go through it with me versus just watching the recordings a few more times. So if they want to get in, they'll want to jump in to that before September so that they can do it live with our group. After that, I'll just intro it live and outro it live. But yeah, the Levy to Life course includes a Love Life strategy session one-on-one with me. So that's kind of fun. But they get that live interaction. So they get that kind of a group coaching feel in the Levy to Life. I'm sorry, in the You Can Have It All challenge this time, which is, yeah.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. And maybe you could post something about that in the group.
I'll definitely post when we have the specific dates and times. I'll set you guys up with all that information so anyone can do it for free, which is awesome. In the group. Yeah.
Yay.
Free
Yay.
is awesome, and it's not
Free
for
is
last
awesome.
forever, so it's nice to get in on it now. All right. Well, I look forward to connecting with you on Facebook. If you send me an invite, that'll be awesome. And to seeing you on I think it's going to be Sunday, unless one of my friends needs help on Sunday. I'll be staying to help her out as much as she needs, and then leave Monday. So I'll inform you once we decide. And have a lovely meeting, you guys.
Perfect.
And thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Cory.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
All right. See ya. We're getting a little feedback with 3 of us. That's
good.
weird.
Good.
So
how are you,
my friend?
Oh, I don't know. Like
I'm good.
Yeah, it's been a while. So excited.
Yeah, so we did our interview. It was August 6th, so it was 20 days ago. So not too terribly long, but yeah, I am just really excited about what you're going to share and what you're doing. I think it's so needed, and it's been needed for decades. And so hopefully we can start making that shift. And yes, so I can't wait. Do you have anything that you want to share before we watch your interview?
Let's just, because I think the interview was really the crux. So let's just start with that. And then after that, if any, we can kind of organically like transform if you have any questions or if someone's asking questions. But I think like that's probably the best way to start.
Okay, perfect. So I am going to ask you to mute your microphone, and we are going to play the interview. And then for anybody watching, if you have any questions for Rish, please put them in the chat, and we're going to answer some of those when we come back. Okay, so here we go. Hey, this is Robin Leslie from OnlyTheInspired.com doing another amazing interview, and I'm so looking forward to this interview. We have Rish Mitra today, so he is focusing on dads. So he's the first one focusing on dads, and I love that. So in a couple of minutes, describe who you are and how you help people.
First of all, Robin, thank you so much. Really appreciate the platform, appreciate what you're doing right now with the Inspired Coaching Summit. And so really, I mean, I tell people I'm a dad. I used to tell people I'm an engineer to begin with, but I think it's a shift of mindset. But really, I'm a dad of 2.5-year-old son, and in the process of learning this parenthood and navigating my own trauma from childhood and from adulthood, and really connecting with him in a heart space authentically and in a more vulnerable way than just taking it as another project, made me realize that this is something which is needed very much for men and dads. So that's where my focus is right now. It's a 18 months passion project. So finally, I launched my podcast, Dads and Deadlifts, and I'm about to set a date for a new challenge that I'm running, 5-day Super Dad Challenge. So really, I mean, the way my mission is to raise awareness to the social stigma around boys and men that we grew up with and are unable to let go because of one, social stigma. Unconsciously, we all want social validation, so we don't want to break the cycle. So it's easy to play the role that's been expected from the society. And two, breaking the habit of, or the limiting belief of, keeping things to themselves because of the social stigma. And then the downside of that is you are subduing your emotions, and the way you are coping is some sort of substance abuse or absent parent or an abusive partner. Some way or the other, it's coming out, and the research is very clear on that. So once I started thinking about this, and I went through the research, that just blew my mind, that I had the tools, I had the knowledge, I had the intellect to reach out and apply these tools during my darkest times. There are boys and men who don't have the resources and tools. So ideally, that's how the mission started, and just raising awareness of you don't have to be silent. It's okay to reach out, and no one's alone. So that's really my goal and mission at this point, working with boys and men to help them understand that and break that chain of social stigma.
So the stigma that you're talking about, from what I understand, is like if a little girl falls and scrapes her knee, she gets cuddled, it's okay, and she cries, she's allowed to cry. But if a little boy is to do that, then he's told to toughen up, suck it up, be a man, rub it off. Is that what you're talking about? Where the boys are taught to suppress. It's not okay to cry. It's not okay to talk about what hurts or what makes them sad. Is that what you're talking about?
Precisely, and I think like that's the point, is the way the gender role had been divided, and rightfully so. If you really go back and look at the prehistoric days, yeah, sure, I mean, men are hunters and women were gatherers, so makes sense. But we are in 2020 where we are all equal. Women are doing the same thing as men are doing, but what the convoluted expectations that are still there for the boys and men, it's still prevalent today society.
Absolutely.
And interestingly, women are very in tune with their emotions and with their inner self, and to the fact that there have been so many advancement in the sector of women's rights and equality, which absolutely was needed, that's also on the other side, so less had been done for boys and men who are still confused. And it's really not their fault.
No.
And then when something happens, for case in point, mass shootings, every mass shooter in the United States are men. So let that sink in. It's very obvious. And or the suicide. 70% of suicides are all men, according to NIMH, National Institute of Mental Health. So again, there's so less had been done, and so much had been more of a reactive way of working on things versus really getting to the roots of it and understand like what's causing these issues instead of just patching band-aid after every bad news that comes our way. Mass shootings, domestic violence, absent father, whatnot, addictions. So that's precisely, absolutely, yes. That's where these goals are, if I may say so.
I love what you're doing. When my fiance and I got together, he was 49. And, I'm a girl, I'm a coach, and I ask why and how and what do you think? And he told me probably in the last year, nobody's ever asked me how I feel. Nobody's ever wanted to know. And so it took him time. It's like, I need to think about that because I'm not used to expressing myself because people don't ask, how do you feel? Because guys don't get together and talk about what's hurting in their heart. They don't talk about, how they were treated at school. They, punch each other in the shoulder because, they don't want to show weakness, but it's not weakness to actually connect with your heart. And it is a total stigma. And, but a lot of people don't think about that. And I love what you're doing. And there's nothing wrong with, there is something wrong with suppressing little boys and men from expressing how they feel. And so I know many people, men, who weren't allowed to speak their mind. They, they didn't have that out of emotions. And so at 14 years old, they're drinking because they have to, deal with the emotions somehow, and they don't know how to do that. And that's where addiction and stuff like that comes in. So I love what you're doing. So how did you get started in this business? Was it an event or a series of events? Obviously, you became a father.
So there's a lot of layers to that, and really what broke the camel's back was my son calling me Dada for the first time, and I was drunk. And that's when it hit me that I need to change. So then just a little history behind that is I was in a very rocky relationship or marriage. And same thing when I wanted to reach out to my friends at some of the most darkest times, I didn't get that support system necessarily. My support systems were books. And from Tony Robbins to Ryan Holiday to Ian McInnes, Hal Roth, everyone, self-improvement books, and really dig deep and work on improving yourselves. But coming back, what I just said a few minutes ago is I had these books. I had been to Tony Robbins' seminar. I do my journaling. I'm a huge meditation guy. So I have all these tools and resources that work for me and that help me get over my dependency on alcohol, where I was trying to self-medicate myself to basically self-distract. There's no other way. I mean, I reached out to people. They didn't reach out. So guess what I reached out to? Alcohol, or for my case, other people reach out to all sorts of addictions. And So that's how it all started, where just the situation itself was so powerful and remarkable. I still vividly remember that when I was holding him for the first time, the experience of hearing data from your kid's mouth, and you're not sober. So that itself is very unsettling and a huge impetus for change. And that's when it started. So
beautiful. And I appreciate your vulnerability, because it's hard. It's hard to come out and say that, but it feels good to do that because right now you are connecting with so many men where they go, I get you, dude. It's uncomfortable to reach out to my friends. Hey guys, I just need, for a guy to say, I need a shoulder to cry on or somebody to vent to, it's just not common for guys to do that with each other.
right.
It's very common for girls to do that. So I agree. You guys totally need an outlet and to have it be normal. To have it be normal for little boys to be able to cry and say how they feel instead of, put some dirt on it,
Yeah.
stand up, toughen up. Because no, you're just as sensitive as we are. We're just more verbal. I love what you're doing. So describe your ultimate vision for your business.
Ultimate vision, again, everything is in the works. And so when I first started, idea was to launch a soundboard, a platform to really bring the stories of survivors and trials and triumph stories, where just like me and you or anyone else who had always had trials and we overcame and came on the other side with triumphs, to raise awareness through the podcast who doesn't have the resources, who are listening to this podcast, listening to this sounding board, feel connected and realize that they're not alone. And that's how it all started. That's basically a sounding board, and I have already launched it last week. 5 episodes in, and lots of coaches are giving away free consultations and different music therapy that's free to download. Whatever tools I can bring to the table, and you never know how it can affect only one person, and that's good for me, because at least I will know I'd saved one life or helped someone when they don't know, they have no clue. But what really started after that, when I started sharing this journey with my friends, everyone was like, well, everyone needs that simple tool that helped you get over it. And I really didn't think too much until that point where, oh, hold on a minute, because I'm an engineer by profession, and I love what I do. And then some of my friends did tell me that every time we come to you, every time we get an issue, we come to you. So it was a very heartwarming moment. It was like, oh, okay, so I'm just and then I opened my journal and looked at what I did and started taking some pieces out and really creating this quick program. And now it have emerged because of a lot of beta testing over past few months. But I created this 8-week program called Man Up Challenge and Super Dads. So one for dads who went through trauma, who went through neglect, and now they're a dad and they're struggling to connect from heart with their kid. And then the other program is Man Up, where it has few levels. It's for young men. There's a program, and then also dads with kids, just not from the dad perspective. They also want to take control of their mindset and life as a man and connect with their partners, and so relationship too. So that's the overall goal right now. But the other side of it that I'm working on is, and it's in the works, I'm just taking one step at a time, is actually 2 things. One is I'm writing a book called Man Up, which will be done by end of September. So I'm hoping October, November launch. So it's still a couple of months away, but The Man Up book would be about the same thing, about my journey and all the proprietary process in detail with worksheets included. Idea is to get these free worksheets to as many people as I can. That's my goal. And the last section of it is Dads and Deadlifts Foundation. That's the charitable portion of it, where raise awareness and then through that foundation really help young men attend seminars or get a coaching program that they cannot pay. Of course, there will be criteria for that. And then dads who are struggling financially and connecting with their kids and teaching them that you don't need a lot of money to really connect with your kids. And there are things available in nature. So it's crux of my Super Dad program, is about things are around us. You just need to really be creative with the kids, and that helps create a lot of good connection. So that's the part of the Dads and Deadlifts Foundation. And then another thing I want to do is really help men who are struggling. Again, criteria is involved, and like during these tough times, there are people who are struggling. And I talked to a few people. I'm not going to name them, and that some people they don't even have money for their wedding suit or clothes or catering, whatever it is, that raise awareness. And I have my wedding suit in my closet. What's the use for it? It's there. It has memory in it. I want to start doing that project too, to really encourage men who are in good space, help with men who are struggling for their wedding or for their child, like be a new dad and they don't have the money to buy stuff. So use that foundation for that too.
I love that. So are you talking about like donating your wedding tuxedo or stuff like that to other people? And like,
Right.
Oh, I like that. That is awesome. You have so many great ideas and I love that. And it's so needed. I don't see anybody else out there doing that. And it's so needed. So what beliefs do you have that set you apart from your competition? And so I'm not sure how much competition you have since there's, you're kind of in a unique space, but it's very, very needed.
So I think I have to say this. That's just me. I come from this mindset, and in a very honest and authentic way. I don't believe there's a competition, even if someone is helping men, because I feel like we are all in this together, and more people. That's the whole point of this mission. More people we can raise awareness to, more people we can collaborate with. I don't really take them as competition. I'm like, I would be happy, like if they have an audience that there are certain things that no one's able to break through. Maybe I have the expertise through my audience and my platform, I can help that. So it's all about collaboration, not competition. And I feel like that's basically my mindset. And I don't. The more people, we need more people in this field. How about that? That's the best way I can explain it. So more people are talking and helping in whatever level. I think that's the most important part versus, oh, look, I have created this program. No, if this program might not work for a lot of people because I have a very niche market. I'm not going for a broader market or broader audience, I guess, because I only know what helped me being a dad of a toddler, what helped me being a 39-year-old man. So I have a specific range, and I am very confident of that demographics to help because I got help. I'm not gonna go beyond certain demographics eventually, maybe, but not right now. So more people taking the ownership and helping other demographics, and even in my space, I welcome all at this point. I mean, this is really a needed topic, and people are not talking about it. And if you start seeing the research, it's mind-boggling.
I don't think there's a certain demographic. I think men of every age
Mhm.
really
Right.
need to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mentioned to you before, there's a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy, and it talks
Right.
about some of those ideas. And then I know Tony Robbins talks about some of those ideas about how little boys are treated differently, and how it almost vapor locks the guy. They don't know how
Mhm.
to come out with feelings because they've never been able to, or they were shamed if they did.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that the whole half of the population probably needs to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the hardest thing to overcome when starting your business?
Hardest thing to get out of my own way. This was I would always think that, who am I to talk about it, right? Uh, we are in a culture where things are looked at a different perspective, and that's another, I guess I can call it stigma. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Is everything look for a certificate, but certificate gives you a proof that you have completed some class, but a lot of times I feel life teaches us so much. Pain and sufferings probably are the biggest teacher in life. And so when I was thinking about it, that's exactly my first thing was, who am I to talk about it? Who's going to listen to me? And because I'm not a certified anything, any life coach or whatnot, but then I realized what I am is I walked through that. I walked through that darkness to come on the other side in light. So that's the biggest teacher. So if I can bring that authenticity and vulnerability to help others, people will resonate. So yes, one of the biggest that's imposter syndrome, we call it, right? That's probably was one of my biggest obstacles in get off my head of that, helping others and use the pain to serve others versus just hiding behind you know this mask. So
Right. So if not you, then who? And
exactly.
obviously not many people are out there doing it. So, and you feel compelled, and there was a reason that you were compelled, and there's a reason that you started researching this. You've been chosen.
Yeah.
And that's why. But I know you're talking about something that is you're going against a stigma. And but you know personally that it has to be talked about, that it's been overlooked, that it has for generations, centuries.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Centuries. So do you have the support network of friends and family saying, Rish, you need to do this, or is this something you feel compelled to do and you're doing it no matter what?
It's a second one, and I think like it's a mix of both. I do have some friends and families who definitely know what I'm doing, and they're all about it. Are they active supporters? Probably not. And that's the stigma again, right? No one is really coming out and talking about it, but they support it. They're not openly vocalizing. And initially, there was a lot of internal discussions to have me clarify them. What is it really? And we live in a society where we are raised with confirmation bias, right? Because what we want to believe, we will try to find those, and we will look for those specific things. The moment things go out of our comfort zone, then we start questioning, and that's the whole point of stigma. That's the whole point of going against the waves. And so yeah, those conversations were there initially, but at this point I'm so focused, nothing can stop me at this point. And I really mean it in a very humble way, not arrogant way. That the other day someone told me I'm the freedom fighter for men, and I don't like those titles. I don't like those labels. It's not about being myself in a pedestal. It's about basically being on the same ground, asking everyone to really look and get a feel, an understanding of themselves, that it's a long time we men have neglected our heart. It's time to really tap into it and understand that inner strength and inner self, and the vulnerability and authenticity that can serve not just us, serve our partners, and serve our next generations.
The children.
So yeah.
And you could tell that you're very humble. I do believe you are a freedom fighter for men and their emotions and their voice. I do. And it's not, putting you on a pedestal, but you are standing out above the crowd going, hey, we need to pay attention to this. We need to focus on this. We need to help boys all over. We don't want any more mass shooting. Let's try and fix the problem. So you are doing a tremendous thing. But you could tell you're very, very humble about it. So, so what is your favorite thing about your business?
Favorite thing about my business is coming up with ideas, creative ideas. I'm having fun with it. I'm having so much fun with it because I do it myself. So, and it keeps your ideas, creative mind going. How to create some of these projects to connect with the kid. And that's exactly what this in 5-day challenge. There are specific tasks that helps them go through it. And then only one thing, it's new every day. And I'm giving them some recommendations, but then they have to be creative about how to connect. So that's probably my really fun part to do at this point. And on the other side is just talking to the beta testers and achieving that 90+% rating, completion ratings of the program with a real genuine feedbacks that how it helped them in terms of mindset and how to get to the point where you were really present. That's probably one of the most humbling experience I ever had. So that's probably the best part, that everyone, just one person sometime I talk to, and if they say like they really enjoyed it, even 10%, and that they're applying 10% of the program, that itself is very humbling.
And very rewarding. Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. So what inspires you? What are you passionate about? And it doesn't have to be business.
Right. I'm passionate about a lot of stuff. I think like one of my biggest passion is travel and connect with people of different culture and learning about their perspective, and because every culture has so many things to learn and implement that. And I think like that's one of my biggest passion, to know people from all around the world and really get deep into their culture, songs, food, clothes, different rituals. I love it. And I do that a lot. I travel a lot. And I make sure when I travel, I try to be in the mix and not just in a resort. And that gives me a lot of pleasure. So that's one of my biggest passion. And that trickles down effect of that is like, of course, I want to show my son what I have learned and tell him stories and take him everywhere and get him the exposure and show him again the different cultures and how different cultures evolved and history behind it, so that it can stay with him. So one of my that's probably one of my biggest passion. And then second, of course, right now what I'm doing, it's such meaningful work, and being honored to be on the other side, to listening to people's stories when I interview them for my podcast, or talking to men with the program, or even just connecting with people from all walks of life, to be able to go and bring them on Facebook Live or again on my program to talk about it. And that's itself is very motivating. So yeah, those two right now I would say currently my biggest passion. Yeah.
Well, and to be that person that you needed at certain points in your time when you needed to go and talk to somebody, now you are that person for others. And
Yes.
so I'm sure it's very healing for you and for them at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. I tell people that I need you guys more the same way that you guys need me. It's a two-way street, because I need that, because that's now my calling. That's now my, like, to serve through my pain and what I had been through. And if you really start unpeeling the layers, that's where, as a coach, we also need people who are walking through with us taking our program are learning from us. There's also a learning happening from the other side, because every time you meet someone, everyone's problem is so unique. You are constantly checking your program and constantly checking your ideas, that, and then creating more new ideas through that.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And where's the favorite place that you've traveled to? What's your favorite place?
My favorite place, okay, I do have to say this is a little okay, so I would say Frankfurt area, Frankfurt Ulm in Germany, and then Venice, Italy, probably my favorite. Yeah, and then of course, like domestically, any, you throw me in nature, that becomes my favorite place. And throw me in a culture of learning small town and walking around and exploring the area and talking to the locals. Yeah, that becomes my space. So
Very cool. Very cool. So who inspires you?
who inspires me? Probably the biggest is my son. Every day, I think that changed the game for me for sure. Every day I look at him, every day I know that there's work to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably my biggest inspiration. And of course, if you're talking about my tools and resources, I already told you I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. I've been his fan since 2011, and books, his seminars, I learned so much, man. And just him. And then there are other motivators and other books, but a couple of names to name a few. Brené Brown is probably, oh my God, like I can read her books all
I
day.
love Brené Brown. I love her audibles because she's got
Yeah.
attitude.
And then Mary Forleo, the way she shows up and she talks about on the social topics. And Glennon Doyle. I mean, I'm in love with this book, Untamed. If and no one have read that book is a must read. I mean, just the way she laid everything out, being such a open and honest person she is, and the way the book talked about, and there's a chapter specifically to my heart talks about devaluing boys and men, and the way she articulated it, it's just amazing. So
Untamed.
mhm.
I'll have to get that one. Well,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And when you go back to Tony Robbins, so obviously you've seen him on a stage. It's a
Mhm.
little bit different if you get his audio,
Yes.
it's so not the same. So you see
No.
him on stage and he's this massive man,
Right.
very masculine, but very
Oof. Yeah.
emotional. And he'll cry when people tell stories. And I love that he can do that openly and lovingly. And yeah, so he's got both of that, where I am a man and
Yes. Yes.
love me some Tony, but then he has got a heart of gold and he'll cry with you and he feels for you and you could see it in his face, and it's super freeing. And so have you ever gone to a date with Destiny?
Not yet. So this year I was planning to go to Date with Destiny. Of course, COVID hit, so we'll see. I think they're talking about virtual, so we'll see how that goes. If that happens, definitely I'm in. Yeah.
Oh, for
but
sure.
normally it happens end of year, so December, so we'll see.
Right. And just to see, you could visibly see people transform before your eyes when they're allowed to feel, or I could talk about Tony Robbins for hours and hours. Love that man.
And that's the thing, and coming to your question, and that's one thing I start off with a lot of, especially with these beta testing clients, that the definition of vulnerability, and I ask these questions for everyone to write down and show their answers in big piece of paper, right, on Zoom calls. And mind-bogglingly, a lot of people takes vulnerability as weakness. Some say means that I cannot cry. I mean, I cannot, that's weak. I cannot toughen up. Vulnerability means I'm letting my family down. I'm not protector. And that's all it takes to understand where men are in terms of definition of vulnerability. So that's the main thing really, is, as you said, it's not that vulnerable means that you cannot protect your family. You can still be fierce as lion. Because yeah, I'm very vulnerable, but come at my family, come at my son, I'm still that fierce father.
Right.
And people needs to understand that going into your heart and tapping into your heart is nothing to do with strength. If anything, that's actually probably the most stronger thing to do than wearing a mask and say yes to the stigma. And it doesn't take too much courage to, drown yourself in any sort of substance abuse or alcohol. I did that. Trust me, it's not working. And if anything, it actually gets bad. So that being vulnerable takes a lot of courage, because you actually have to work on yourself. You have to really fight with your head and really keep grounded in heart. So I feel like that's where people need to understand that it has nothing to do with our physical strength. It's really nothing. It's your heart space, and you are connected, you're grounded, so that you can actually connect with your partners or your kids.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that reminds me a lot of Brene Brown's books, because
yes.
she talks about vulnerability, and people think it's weakness, but it is the exact opposite. It takes courage to do it. It takes courage to be that man in the arena, stepping out, bringing to light this subject when most other people don't. They shut it off. But it takes courage to be vulnerable and talk about how you feel and where you've been and how you went to drinking because you didn't know how to do it. That is very courageous.
Yeah.
So yes. And she thought vulnerability was weakness also, until she studied it, and then it's like, no, I could listen to her all the time. I love her.
Oh, she's great.
So last question, big question. If you could leave one tip or golden nugget for the people listening, and it was the only thing you could say and your only chance to say it, what would that be?
In terms of
anything.
Helping themselves, well, I'll tell you then. If it's anything, I feel like that's one thing that's very powerful for me, and that's one thing I ask all my clients to do it, and that's exactly one main thing that in my Event Super Dad challenge every day for 5 days. That's one thing that's very constant. I call it's called self-meditation. I am a meditation guy. I close my eyes, I do it. But one thing I ask people, and it would be my challenge to try it and let me know how it goes. Take your phone, get it on a video mode, in a selfie mode. Put it in your eye level, or it doesn't matter, and then turn on the video and don't say anything. Look straight in your camera for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and then pause the video and watch the video. For the amount of time the video is, keep looking at the video, and I want you to really answer one question.
In your own eyes, kind of like
you're looking yourself, yes, in your own eyes, and then write how you feel. Write how you feel, and write whatever comes to mind. Don't cheat yourself. Whatever first thing that comes to mind, always ask that question and write it down, and you'll see when you write everything on paper, you're gonna see it's something different's gonna happen. Because all I ask them to do is just do that. Write, who am I? What's the first thing that came to mind after watching that video? And then how are you feeling? And then I actually take them, it starts with 2 minutes, and then I keep adding 2 minutes to a point where it's like 10 minutes. And if you start consistently doing it, what happens is, even if you don't do anything, what happens is you're going to start seeing yourself and be present. And that's the first thing I think we need to be in tune in ourselves. And that's why I call it self-meditation, is you really are meditating with yourself face to face. That will get you very clear clarity. And every time I do it every day. I'm at a point I do it 10 minutes easy, and I feel that every day would be different, right? Because I feel based on days, you can be in peaks and valleys. That's just how human emotions are. And as men, what we try to do, we feel today is I'm feeling down. Okay, I'm gonna go grab a beer today because I'm feeling down, without really getting to the bottom of it. Why am I feeling down? Because that's gonna help you. Otherwise, nothing's gonna change. So this self meditation, even if you don't do anything, if you're listening right now, start doing it. Even men and women, I feel like it just kind of gives you a clarity, and you will start seeing that by 10th day, you're gonna start looking and smiling at yourself. Like you would start loving yourself more. Otherwise, we're not paying attention to us. We are just kind of self-distracting us all the time, especially men. And there might be some tears involved. You will see. Once you tap into your heart, you don't have to do anything. Those pains just comes out as tears. So that's the only thing I will tell you if people want to try it.
So you look, so you don't say anything. You're just looking yourself in the eye and being quiet.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to create a mood, put a meditation music in the background. That helps. But I just do it very silently. That
Very
gives
cool.
me
Well,
keeps me in the space.
I know Tony Robbins, he'll have couples look at each other and say, I love you, I'm here for you, all that kind of stuff through their eyes without actually saying that. So I think you could do that too. And that could be very powerful with yourself, because we are our own biggest critics.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of times we pick on ourselves. Oh, look at that big zit on my face. Or
yeah, exactly.
Okay, I love that. I never have heard of that. And people talk about the mirror thing, and the mirror thing's fine, but you can always go back and watch that video, which you can't go back and really watch the mirror. And if you see anything,
you can see the progress. You know, it's very evident, and it's very evident in everyone individual level. Everyone came back and told me that after 5 days or 7 days, they don't feel to look away from the camera. They can actually look at themselves. That's a good thing. That's exactly the point. Initially, when they start, they look at the camera, they feel immediately it takes over. They start looking. I was like, okay. So then they can see the progression, and that's exactly the point. Like, you should be okay to look at yourself first. If you can look at yourself and really connect with your heart, then people are not really seeing the real you. So
that is awesome, and I'm gonna try that.
Yes.
I'm
let me know.
And I love that. And I struggle with normal meditation.
Right.
I love Vishen Lakiani, I think is how you pronounce it.
Oh, Vishal Lakiani. Oh, yeah. Amazing guy.
I love him. He's got his 6-phase meditation on the Mind Valley app. And, so I like that because, and I love listening to him, but he takes you through the process. If I try and do normal meditation, I'll like,
yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, very cool. That is unique. I like that a lot. So is there anything else that you would like to share before we talk about your giveaway?
No, I think my only request and only message to everyone would be reach out, especially men and dads with toddlers and with kids. Reach out to people. And I have Facebook page, I have Instagram page. Just reach out if you have any questions, and I'm on this group also, and just tag me if you have any questions, even if it's just a simple question. No question is stupid. I rather spend 2 hours with you talking to you. And I tell this people because people sometimes need to understand, if they don't change, what's going to happen in the next 5 years. It's Dickens process. And so I kind of walk them through that exercise too, and it's very powerful. And then I tell them, I rather sit down and talk to you right now. I rather you reaching out to me personally, or reaching out to anyone for that matter. Trust me, everyone, rather your friends, family who cares about you, including me, a complete stranger. But we rather spend 2 hours talking to you than go to your funeral and spend 30 minutes, an hour there. So that's something, always remember that, because if you're a dad, it's easy to go, but then what legacy are you leaving for the kids that's gonna be raised and won't know you ever.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with your partners. So that's one thing I really like to share, because I think people are, especially with this COVID, and there are numbers and all, and when you're in this space, you're keeping track of research, and I'm a huge research guy. And it's just seeing the numbers go up during this COVID in terms of men and husbands or dads committing suicide and desperately. That's very alarming. So anyone who's listening, if anything you need, just reach out to people.
Absolutely. And if they're non-receptive, reach out to Rish, reach out to a coach, somebody that is used to listening and can talk to you and draw that out of you. Yeah. If you find yourself talking to somebody and you're not getting anywhere, kind of like you experience, then find somebody else. Keep looking, find somebody else. Don't give up on yourself at all. I love you have such a powerful message. And so, which leads us into your gift, right? So
Yes.
You are giving away a 30-minute consultation. So Rish is in the Coach Summit Facebook group, and along with all of the other coaches, which I love, that they're reachable. So when you watch this interview, that is what he's given away, is a 30-minute consultation. So hit him up right there in the group. And then he also has the dads and deadlifts on Facebook and Instagram, right?
Right. Yes.
And then what is the name of the podcast is the same?
Dads and Deadlifts. Yes.
Okay. I love what you're doing. I think it's beautiful. I think it's so overdue, and bravo. Yay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yay. So thank you very much for being here. For everybody watching, please share this video. You know that there's people out there that need to hear this. Please share it with as many people as you can, because, you know, they need to be able to open up and not hold everything inside, because then the pressure just gets too big, and we don't want that to happen. And we want, you know, little boys to be raised where they're free to express themselves and free to cry, and we're all different, but we all have that need and the emotions, and we all need to express them.
Yes.
Oh, yay. All right, share the video. Thank you, guys. We will see you next time. Okay, we're back on.
Hey, wow.
So what was that like for you?
Oh, that was a good interview. I was listening. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Agreeing with yourself? Yeah.
Yes.
Very cool. Yeah, it's so important. So how is your podcast going? How many episodes are you on now?
Today we just launched our 8th episode, and then I have another 17 to launch, and then I just keep interviewing people, so from different for specific topics. So
perfect. Yay. I'm super excited about that. So make sure, everybody, that you reach out, and so we're doing a Facebook message for the 30-minute phone consultation. Okay. And so under the giveaways tab, it's under the announcements, you'll see the guy swinging his jacket. All of the coaches' giveaways are there. And then so Rish will have his name highlighted. So all you have to do is click on there, and you can instantly go to his Facebook page and set up that 30-minute consultation. Yeah. So if you have any questions for him, you could put them in the chat. I am going to bring up our next guest, and we'll say hi to her real quick.
Hello.
Hello. Let me check that. There we go.
Hello.
So I don't know if you were listening earlier. Cory, she was our second one on. She's in Utah, and then Rish, you're going to be in Utah tomorrow?
This weekend, yeah. From Saturday to Tuesday, yeah.
And then
Cool.
Where in Utah are you?
Where am I? I'm in Lehi.
Lehi.
Mm-hmm. It's about 40 minutes south of Salt Lake.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, all I'm familiar with, my dad lives in Centerville, so that's just above Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. And so Amy and I are actually going to do a live interview today.
Yes, we are. Yep.
In the hot seat. Woo!
Oh yeah. So pumped. So pumped.
Yes. Yes. So, Rish, thank you again for being here. I appreciate you very much. And I am super excited you're going to be one of the coaches on the site, because the more people that know about what you're doing, the better, because I know it's an issue. I know almost every guy that I know of deals with, I'm not sure how to express myself because I've never really been allowed to before. And that needs to stop. It needs to stop as soon as we can. So, yay.
Yeah.
So, awesome.
Thank you. Thanks, Robin. Really
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Thanks for letting me share.
You're welcome. And I am going to hide you so we could get started with Amy's interview. And then if you and Cory want to be here when we're done, we can bring you back up. It's up to you guys. Or we could just find you in the Facebook group and then go from there.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. See
Bye.
ya.
All right. Pressure's on, sister.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. I did just hear my phone ding, so I'm going to go turn that off so it doesn't ring, because that would, interrupt things.
No problem. So, yay. I am so excited about these interviews, and we got more and more coming. Lots of interviews this all the way through Monday. And so I'm just so thrilled you guys are here on this journey and listening to the coaches, because, it's just incredible. Yay. And she doesn't have the logo on her head. We're doing good.
Scooting around.
And I don't know if you could see the logo on your side, but yeah, I've seen it in the video where it's like right there. It's like,
yeah, I can see it. So I can stay out of the way.
All right. Are you ready?
I am so ready for this.
Okay. So, in a couple minutes, describe who you are and how you help people.
Okay, so I'm Amy Harrison, and I am a marriage and self-confidence life coach. And I put those two together because self-confidence and your belief in yourself and how you see yourself actually plays a huge part in your relationships with others and in your marriage. And so I help primarily, I've worked primarily with women up to this point, but I've also taught a 9-week course for couples, essentially reminding them that, as they strengthen their own heart and their own identity, that helps them to thrive in their relationships. And really similar to what the Rish was saying was that that feeling, that being able to feel that there's so much that gets stuffed down that people don't feel, that it blocks all sorts of interactions, connections, and helping people to identify what those beliefs are, what those emotions are that maybe they aren't feeling. And really, I like to focus a lot on shame and the shame beliefs that we have about who we are, what we've done, and how releasing all of those and instead living from a place of grace for ourselves and also for our partners enables relationships to thrive and enables us to thrive instead of just like getting through. So that's what I do.
That's awesome. And I think sometimes it's easier for us to, if our partner is dealing with shame, it's easier for us to console them than it is for us to deal with our own shame.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of, I'm just going to fix my partner because that seems easier right now, but you actually cannot fix or change your partner. The only person you can change is yourself. But it is a lot easier to put them as the focus instead of yourself, because it's really vulnerable to go in and feel those feelings and release and do all the inner work that's needed for your own self. It's a lot easier to just look at somebody else and you kind of still get that like, oh, I feel good, I helped them. You still get that like high that you did something positive, but you're not actually doing the work where it's meant to be done.
Right. And I think shame is almost like our own secret. Mm-hmm. We're the only ones that know that we have our own shame, and it's our secret, and it takes bravery and courage to be able to come out with that. And
Mhm.
yeah, so yay, I'm glad you're doing that because it's so needed.
Mhm.
So how did you get started in this business? Was it one event or a series of events that happened?
So it's been a series. It's been a journey. I was doing another business on the side, and as I was really trying to work that one, I just felt this really strong impression that that business was not my destination, but it was a part of my journey, and that I was going to be a life coach. And it really was a thought that was inspired, I believe came from God. And I was like, okay, where is this going to take me? And that was a couple years ago. And so I've had that in the back of my mind. And last year I started coaching. Like I mentioned, I did a 9-week course for couples, really helping them to tune into their own hearts and helping them to get on the same page together, like clear some of the shame out of whatever things they were dealing with. Because if you have, not only have your own shame, but you have your partner's shame, and then maybe shame about things that are relational that you both have. If you have all that shame, it's just like this big dark cloud that's hovering over your relationship, and you can't actually see each other. You can't connect with each other because you just always have this black cloud swimming around. So started teaching, I taught that course. And then since then, within this past year, it's become a lot more clear for me that in the journey that I've been on in my own marriage with my husband, and we both are very open and with our struggles because we feel like more people need to be. And we all have challenges in our marriage, and there's help available. And some of the shame is like, no, you can't ask for help. You're just supposed to figure it out between the two of you. But you can't, because you're two broken people who are often just recycling the same cycles and problems. And so as we started being more open, I just felt, and just it's on my heart, that I know that I can help other couples and other women particularly get to a place where they feel so centered and validated in who they are that they can clear out their own shame. And then they have the ability to show up in their marriage as a whole person and fully validated, fully centered, fully believed in, and then give that to the relationship rather than looking to the relationship, to their spouse, to fill that validation and making it just be a constant take. And some, and there is give as well, but when you come into a relationship from a whole healed place yourself, you're able to feel a lot more connected and do a lot more together as a couple, because you're not pulling your validation from each other, so you can actually move forward and look at your problems together instead of letting your problems come in between you. So as I've done that and just really felt that, then I've just kept moving forward. And each time I take a step, another door opens and another opportunity to help people presents itself. And it's just been a very kind of organic growth of, okay, next step. Let's just figure this out. And it's looked completely different than I thought it would, but it's been absolutely the journey that it's needed to be. And I've been able to help people at each stage of the journey.
Good. Well, yeah, because there are several different stages. And once you can deal with that shame openly and honestly, then it's not that weight on your shoulders anymore. It's
Right.
not, you're not carrying around that baggage. And it might still be there a little bit, but at least it's out in the open and you've talked about it and you can deal with it. And I've had some of those issues myself. And I love, and yeah, it's never the path that we exactly envision, but it's
Right.
what you're supposed to be doing, and I'm glad that you're doing that. Yay. Yeah, I had to delete a comment about herpes. Somebody did a big old long comment, so I'm all, yeah, let's get that off of there. So the other day somebody's all, show me your boobs in the middle of the thing. So all right, sorry about that.
Trolls.
I know. So describe your ultimate vision for your business.
My ultimate vision for my business, I would love to grow my business to the point that I can do live events and retreats where couples can come together. And my husband and I kind of want to grow something together at some point where, because we've been in touch, and part of our journey, we've been impacted by some men's and women's retreats that really just re-hone in on that. You need to be connected with your own heart, and you need to be getting your validation from a true source, from a higher power, and then come in your strength and in your beauty to your relationship. And so we would love to take what we learned at those retreats, paired with our experience and other things that we've learned, to create a couples retreat where we can do breakouts with the men and the women, but then we can also do sessions where the couples are there together, and really just help them clear the shame, help them see each other again as they really are, rather than all of the baggage that's come up as they've been in a marriage, in relationship, and they learn things about each other, they go through things together. So I would love, that's on the horizon for retreats and events. And I would love as well to get to a point where I could train other coaches so that this message can get out there even more, so that you don't need to have shame about your problems in your marriage. You don't need to have shame about yourself, and just clear the shame. Like, the whole world needs less shame because that's what keeps us from getting the help that we need. And there is so much help available, but there's so much shame that says you're not worthy, you're not enough, shame on you for having a problem, shame on you for being human. Like, it sounds ridiculous sometimes when you say it out loud, like, we're all human, of course. And so, but just clearing the shame and being able to grow it so that other people just create a ripple effect. And I've got visions for a podcast, I'm writing a book. So just any space that I can get the message out there, that really for men and women, that you're enough as you are, get your validation from truth, from higher power, and then come in that strength and just be who you are. Stop trying to fix everything. Just open yourself up to feel and to heal and to be, instead of fixing and hustling and doing all the time. Just open. And that allows the healing in your own heart and then in your relationship to take place.
That's awesome. And I think more couples coaching, as a man and a woman coach, working with couples would be very beneficial. I've had people, where the wife contacts me and the husband's already on alert,
Mm-hmm.
It's girls against, girls with girls against boys, you're going to take her side automatically because you're a female. It's like, that's not the case at all. But right. I think, there's a couple different lessons with couples coaching. If a man gets to coach with another man, for one, that's teaching him a lesson, kind of like what Rish was talking about, being able to be open with another man and, be in that safe place. I love all your visions, and you're going lots of different places. That's awesome. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And retreats, I think that would be amazing. Mm-hmm. Because you have that time away from the kids, away from the work, away from that stuff. And you would have each, coaching and then coaching together, and then, actually sitting down and taking that time. That would be great.
Yeah.
So what beliefs do you have that set you apart from your other competition, other relationship coaches? What's your perspective?
So I think one of the biggest things that sets me apart is my perspective on shame and the role that it plays in challenges in a marriage. My husband and I, our story comes from struggling. My husband has struggled with pornography addiction. And like I said, we're both really open, so I have full permission to say this. And then I've had the resulting effects of the betrayal and the trauma from that. And I didn't even know what betrayal trauma was before I experienced it, but it was, my life just got totally flipped upside down. And then there's this issue that suddenly, buries us both in shame. We're both just like, so intensely hiding from other people, from help that we needed. And so as we've been on our own healing journey, and I've done a lot of my own inner work and gone to therapy and gotten coaching and just learned that really what we were facing together, and really this applies to absolutely any challenge in a marriage. It can be financial, it can be infertility, it can be in-laws, it can be whatever the challenge is, that you have to be able to step back and look at it together so that it's not this cloud of shame that comes in between you. Because for the longest time, I let that cloud of shame my husband's struggles be how I saw my husband. Like, that was his identity. That was who he was. He ruined everything. Like, that was my mentality. And then he saw me through the other side of, I've hurt her so bad, she's never going to love me again. And like, that's how we saw each other. And when we were looking at each other that way, we could not actually find healing and connection because we weren't seeing each other's true hearts. We weren't seeing each other. And so we both had to learn at our own timing and in our own way to step back and realize that this challenge was separate from us. It was not who we are. It is not our identity as a couple. It is not our identity as individuals, and take it and shift it into the front of us so we can actually both look at it together. And, me and my husband can be here looking at each other and then look at the problem together and solve it together rather than having it come between us. And then we can never really find that healing and that progress. And so I think that that's something that sets me apart as a coach, is that I really try to help individuals and couples see that their circumstances and what they're dealing with or things that happen are outside of themselves. That it's not who you are. What has happened to you is not who you are. What you've done is not who you are. Yes, there are 100% impacts. There are consequences. You have to have accountability. Like, moving it out of that space doesn't take away any of the impact or the accountability or any of that. That's still, amends still need to be made. Trust still needs to be rebuilt. But if there's all that shame, you can't find the healing because you're hiding. You have to come out of hiding to find the healing. And everybody's healing in relationship and in their own heart is a different journey, but there are so many tools out there, but the shame keeps people from even starting to look. So having that perspective of, this is not us, this is not me, this is its own separate thing, and we can face it together. Instead of fighting each other, we can fight our challenge and solve our challenge with each other instead of being pitted against each other.
That's awesome. Yeah, because if you don't look at it from that way, just like you were saying before, he's feeling all this shame, I've hurt her so bad, and you're feeling betrayal and, you're completely hurt. A lot of people stay that way, and that's where they split up. If they can't figure out that, we love each other. Yeah, we have issues. Everybody has issues. Let's look at the issues, not you're the horror, you're the enemy. Mm-hmm. And, we can't overcome this because you fell in love with the person, not the habit.
Right.
And so I think that's amazing. That's beautiful. Awesome.
Thank you.
So what is the hardest thing to overcome when starting your business?
I think the hardest thing has been just the idea getting, and I feel like I've broken through it mostly, but getting to the point where I just moved forward on what I had. Because I wanted to just have everything all perfect together, have a plan, have it all lined up so that I could take people through a path. But if I waited for that, then we would not be talking today. If I had waited for that, then the doors that have opened would not have opened. And so getting to the point that really, truly believing that done is better than perfect, and I can adjust and learn as I go. And that is one of the most effective ways to learn what works and what doesn't work, is to actually do it. And to just offer something. And if it doesn't get any bites, then okay, we're going to offer something else. But just continuing in that forward direction, step by step, little by little. And then I believe that those efforts can be magnified and it'll come to fruition at some point, as long as I keep moving forward and believing that the people that need me now need me now. They don't need me when I have everything all fleshed out in perfect graphics and perfect everything. They need me where I'm at now, and the message and the way that it's formed now. And then the people that need it in a different form will get it in a different form from me later. But just accepting that I can be where I'm at, give myself that grace, get rid of my own shame monster that, well, you don't have it all put together yet, so you can't do anything. But just moving forward, because that is the best way to make any change in your life, is just one step at a time. Done is better than perfect, because, you miss 100% of the shots you never take.
Yeah, and just getting started. And you might think, so if you wait until everything's perfect, or you think it's perfect, graphics and all the flow and all that kind of stuff, once you're actually out there in the coaching, then it's like, oh, I totally didn't know I needed that and that and that. So it's never going to be perfect. It's an ongoing changing animal. Yeah, but you have to get started, take that first step. And sometimes that's just, well, all the time. That's the scariest step.
Oh yeah. Yep, it is.
Very cool. So do you have the support network of friends and family encouraging you to do this, or is this something you feel compelled to do and you're going to do it no matter what?
I do have the support of my friends and family, which is awesome. I've had so much just love and support, whether they're coming to an event that I do or sharing what I post or whatever it is. I have the support of my family, and that makes such a big difference. And if I didn't, I would still be moving forward and finding some way to make it happen, because this message is so important. And statistically, there are so many couples dealing specifically with the pornography addiction, betrayal, trauma, sexual addiction, like just that dynamic, that challenge in and of itself has like 30 million couples. That's a lot that are dealing with that. And some of them are getting help, but some of them are not. And to me, I want to make sure that people know that there's healing available, that they don't have to hide in shame, and they don't have to be stuck in blame or resentment either, that they can have a happy, joyful marriage and feel happy and confident and love themselves, regardless of what the situations are, regardless of what they've been through, that there is hope and healing available. And it just breaks my heart to know that there's some families and couples that never learn that never know that they're okay to be where they're at, that it's normal to struggle, but that doesn't define who you are, and that you can change, that there is hope and there is healing. You just need to ask. And so, getting rid of that stigma, shifting the conversation around this addiction and any or any challenge, just shifting it away from shame and to a place of grace and compassion, and just being able to realize that there is that healing available is something that I feel so passionate about. So that message is getting out there, in some way, shape, or form.
Make it happen. Yes. Good. And I'm glad that you found this calling, because it's totally lighting you up, and it's funny the things that land in our lap. Obviously, so obviously you would have never wanted the porn addiction thing to happen,
right?
But because it did, now you see this so much bigger purpose, and that's where I believe everything happens for a reason. And whether it might look ugly at one point in time, there's a reason. There's a story behind it, and people you can help. So, what is your favorite thing about your business?
I think my favorite thing is seeing the sense of relief on people's faces when they realize they can be where they're at. Like when that shame starts to lift and they're just like, what? Like I'm allowed to be angry, or I'm allowed to struggle with something and still be loved and still be valuable and still be worthy. Like, what? I love that moment where I see it click and I just see that box open where really that shame cloud clears for a bit, and they're able to see, whoa, wow, I didn't realize there was all this light on the other side of this cloud that I've been dealing with. And just having that moment where, knowing that something that I've been through and the things that I've learned help another person to get that light, to find that hope, because it can feel pretty hopeless at times. And I've been there. And I think what, you speaking to things happening for a reason, like I remember praying at one point, if I can just help one person with what I've been through and what I've learned, then it'll be worth it. As hard and as heart-wrenching as it's been, like if I just prayed, if I can help one person, and as this has evolved, I've been able to help way more than one person. And it's just incredible because, the path that I've walked on, and each of us have those paths in our challenges where we walk through something really, really hard and we find a way out. to hope and to healing and to light and to recovery. And then we can find, we can go back into that space and find those people that are looking for that hope. And then, hey, here's the way out. And we can walk them along that path. And I think that's the beauty of coaching and of mentoring and whatever you want to call it by whatever name, that process of, hey, I made it through. There's hope for you. And here's the things that you can do, and allowing the space, like allowing the journey to be their own. Because, as a coach, like I don't do the healing for anybody. Each person that I coach has to do their own inner work. And when they do, that's when they see the improvement. I could talk all day. I could give them new thoughts and new beliefs all day, but until they really do that work, and that's when those light bulb moments happen and the progress happens, and they start to just tell me like, oh my gosh, I feel so much lighter. I'm not carrying that burden anymore. And it's just a beautiful thing for me to be able to see that happen, and to know that I've given them some sort of hope and some sort of light, that there's healing available through whatever hardship they've been through.
Yes. Well, yeah. And sometimes you don't know that you can heal. But when you do, it's like, oh my gosh, what a relief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what inspires you? What are you passionate about? And it doesn't have to be business.
Doesn't have to be business. What am I passionate about? Well, I really do love just helping people. So, I love that my passion and my business can go together. I also really enjoy kind of DIY home projects. That's fun. I like the idea of creating. I wouldn't consider myself artsy, but I can build stuff, which is a lot of fun. Power tools are a lot of fun. and I think it's cool, as I've reflected sometimes, in times when I was in a really dark spot, having that hobby and that talent of building something or creating something kind of gave me that hope that I could create something different in other areas of my life, that I could, I'm like, okay, I'm creating this tangible thing. I'm being intentional in creating this here. So maybe I can be intentional in creating something in my mind and in my marriage and in my heart. And so they like tie together. And I really think that was cool to have that tangible physical representation of creating and growth, and then be able to apply it to my personal, mental, and emotional and relationships.
So what was your favorite thing that you created?
Oh my goodness. I've made a lot of different things. I made like a wooden barnwood string picture hanger. It's a really official name right there.
Barnwood. String picture hanger.
Yeah. Picture hanger thing. But I also like making my own like hand soaps and wipes and just like household products that it's fun to just know that I can make that instead of having to go to the store at 10:30 when I run out of baby wipes. Like, I got this. So that's a fun skill to have, and just be able to whip stuff up the way I want it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So who inspires you?
Who inspires me? I would say that my mom is a big inspiration for me. She is one that is always looking to serve others. And my dad too, he would really just like talk to anybody. I remember going to stores with him as a teenager, and he would just talk to the cashier and really try to see them and connect with them. And I just thought that was so powerful. And my mom would always, I remember many random times she would just have a thought or a feeling to reach out to somebody, and we'd just randomly take cookies to somebody, or she'd be on the phone with someone, and just their ability to really love and take action on those things that they felt strongly about is a real inspiration to me in how I've tried to operate and live in my life, just to follow those thoughts, follow those feelings, to reach out to people, because I believe that God works through angels on earth, and we can be those angels for each other. And there's many times and where I've been the recipient of somebody reaching out to check if I was okay. And then that just being exactly what I needed in a dark time. They may not have known what I was going through, but they just reached out because they had the thought, and then being able to do that for other people. And just seeing that example in my parents and in how they do that on a regular basis and still do that is really inspiring to me, because it just reminds me, that you don't have to have a huge social media following or a big fancy website or even know a lot of people to make a difference. That it's those one-on-one interactions that are the most important. And, you know, if my coaching business never became thousands and thousands of people, but I impacted 50 or 100, like those one-on-one, like that's one person that then creates a ripple effect for their entire family and for generations. Like I want to help people become that transition figure in their family, in the shame culture, where they're like, you know what? No, I'm enough, you're enough, and we're going to do this together. And we're going to just completely change the narrative for our own kids, for their kids, and just shift it all. And it can, and those one-on-one, that led by God interactions, like those are the most impactful. And so seeing that in my parents is super, super inspiring for me.
Bravo. Yay.
Shout out mom and dad.
Yeah, shout out mom and dad. Yay. Well, and not only mom and dad, you too, you know, because they have inspired you, but then that's what you want to, you know, help others do, is to change that in their family, change that shame thing that hovers, you know, and it hovers for generations. So if you can remove that, then that is a ripple effect, for generations, where then, you know, those parents will be able to teach their kids, you don't need to live with shame, let it go. And then that goes on. So it expands so much.
Yeah.
So last question, big question.
Big question.
If you could leave one tip or golden nugget for the people listening, and it was the only thing you could say and your only chance to say it, what would that be?
I would say love yourself where you're at and love the people around you where they're at. And let go of the expectation to fix, let go of the belief that you have to control your life, that you have to fix and change and hustle and do. Just love yourself where you're at and allow yourself to just be. Just be. And because when you're constantly hustling or doing or running or trying to fix, you're in motion. And this is a funny image coming to mind. You know, you imagine a little kid at a doctor's office running away from the doctor can't actually help them heal. They have to sit still. And so being able to just be still, be connected with yourself, be open, be willing, and be honest. And then you can actually sit down with the doctor and find that healing and be there with yourself, with your spouse, with your loved ones, and just create a beautiful space that can be a safe space. Because sometimes you get this idea, if I dive in, then I'm going to lose control and it's going to go crazy. But you can create a safe space where you can be you, other people can be themselves, and that's where the healing happens. So just love yourself where you're at and be there.
That is beautiful. Well, and it's very simple but profound. And I've mentioned a few times, last year was just a mess for me. I was just a mess. And luckily, my man loved me in the middle of my being a mess. And, you know, he's had his times where he was a mess and I loved him anyways. And it's not, you're only going to love me when I'm perfect. And I can't only love me when I'm perfect. I have to love me now, imperfect and all. And so I love that you said that, because none of us are perfect. And, you know, yay. So, is there anything else you want to share before we talk about your giveaway?
I just say, you know, if you're dealing with addiction or betrayal or something in your marriage that just feels like way too big for you, which sometimes most things do, that it's okay to ask for help, whether it's financial or addiction or just parenting, because that can be its own bag of worms to figure out. Like, it's okay to ask for help. It's not just up to you and your spouse to figure things out. You can ask for help. You can read a book. You can listen to a podcast. Like, find whatever starting point you can to begin getting that help that you need, because trying to do it on your own, it's not going to work. We need each other. We need people. We need connection, and you can learn from the journeys of other people, and save yourself the same, length and time of heartache. You can find that healing and that hope sooner when you ask for help. So get out of the shame, believe that you're worthy enough to ask for that help, and just ask.
Yeah. Well, just for you example, you guys went through that 9-week relationship thing, and you learned all sorts of stuff about how to overcome your shame. Now you can help lots of other people skip that part.
Yep. I can give them the shortcuts, and then they can.
The Cliff Notes.
Yep. The Cliff Notes version of our long years of therapy and retreats and working on it. I can, how about you start at this point and skip all that stuff. You have your own journey and your own healing to go through, but starting with the Cliff Notes. And I know I got Cliff Notes from other people that helped me. And so I didn't have to take the long road they took, and they can share what I learned. And that's just kind of how life works. When we share what we learn, we save each other a lot of time and heartache.
Hence the value of coaching, people.
Yes.
And that we, sometimes when you do go out there and ask, you might be asking somebody and they might be a little weird at helping you because they don't know how to handle it, or they might have judgment. And that's what coaches are there for. They're all, bring it, bring it. I have open arms. I am here. No judgment. I will help you overcome this. And so thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. So, and then you're going to give away a 15-minute coaching session.
Yeah. So this is it's a 15-minute relationship reboot. So I talked about, how you have to get in your own space where you feel centered with yourself and get rid of your own shame. So what I can do in that 15 minutes is, I really love the power of visualization, and emotions and shame is often stored in your body, and which is something I didn't know about till a couple years ago, but actually visualizing some of that releasing actually helps you to process and release the shame and release those emotions, release those limiting beliefs. There's the thought work around it where, okay, I'm going to believe a new story, but you also have to feel it. You can stay in your head all day long, but until you actually feel and release the emotions or the belief, then it's still stuck in there. And so during that 15 minutes, I can help you identify whatever belief is ready to be let go of. Like, you will know. And that's the coolest thing that I see in the clients that I work with, is whatever they're ready to let go of, it shows up and then it's ready to be released. And they can just trust where they're at. And that's the important thing of being where you're at. So you can actually see what's ready to be let go of. But just walking through a powerful visualization that just, I allow it to form, and you get to trust yourself and keep it in that space, and then be able to let it go. And that letting that go then opens up a space for your relationship with yourself, a relationship with your spouse, to get a reboot where you have a fresh perspective, where you've cleared some of that shame and you can move forward on a new foot.
That's awesome. That is very awesome. And so it's a Calendly link. You want to say it, and then I will also put that in the giveaways tab.
Yeah, it's a Calendly link. So I don't know the official URL of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I will just make sure that you go to the onlytheinspired.com Coach Summit group, and then it will be under the announcements tab, under the giveaways.
Yeah.
So yay, Amy. I think this is just amazing. I love what you're doing, and I think you're going to help so many people. I'm going to bring Miss Cory up here. See if she has any comments. She's been hanging out.
Hello. It's so good to meet another Utah person.
I love it.
She's in Utah right now. Yeah, she's right above Salt Lake. So you guys are probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away from each other.
Depending on traffic, yeah.
Yeah, traffic is the key.
Yeah. And I didn't realize there's 1 million plus people in the Salt Lake area, right?
Or more, yeah.
It's big. It's growing.
It's growing every day.
Yeah.
They've when I was working as a director of sales here, I was part of the 2020 vision or 2040 vision, and it was like gonna double our population. So they were trying to figure out new corridors for traffic and where to expand all of the housing and what type of housing they should expand it to. It was just very interesting to look at all of that and be a part of that economic development boost. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, very much for being here, and Rish, and Hokehe.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. This was so wonderful.
Yes, it was awesome, and I love what everybody's doing, and I appreciate you guys being vulnerable and sharing your stories with us and sharing your passion with us. And I really hope everybody listening and watching really sees and hears the passion that all of the coaches have and how they want to help you, and how much quicker that you can get help with coaches that have, let's skip through all the stuff that we don't need to skip through, right? Yeah.
That's literally like, I was listening to what you were saying to me with helping people and really shorten the distance between where you are now and where you want to be through getting coaching and having someone that's been there help you see a path that you might not have seen before. And that's all we do.
Yep. It's the best.
Or for you to, the other option, when we're talking about the shame and stuff, is for you to either cut ties, or you have to go through that process all on your own and try and figure that out, and then seek your own way to get help. But if you have somebody going, hey, I've been there, let me help you, let's skip through all that, and like Amy was saying, it could be years that you help them skip. And wouldn't it be nice for every issue in our lives to shorten that time span? Wouldn't that, so much more joy and so much more freedom and pleasurable relationship moments versus not. And same with the self-care and self-love and everything that we're doing, talking about and dealing with. So yay. Yeah. I'm very excited. And tomorrow, so like I said, we have a whole bunch of interviews coming up. So tomorrow we have the incredible Miss Tracy Nolan Bierman. And so I know she has where I was just actually uploading one of her courses to Only the Inspired. It's a vision board. So I'm excited about what she's talking about. And she is a life coach. And then Miss Trisha Robinson. So she is actually, I think she's another run coach. I haven't reviewed everybody lately. I'm so sorry. And then Sherilyn Decker. And so we have 3 more beautiful coaches coming up tomorrow, and I will post more stuff on that. And so you guys will know what all they do. And we're going to start at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, daylight time, tomorrow. And then we have just tons and tons of interviews coming up in the last week. Yay. Right before onlytheinspired.com launches. Woo! Yay. So is there anything else you ladies would like to share before we call it today?
Don't think so. This has been awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you.
So fun listening to your guys' everybody else's interview. That's why I stayed on. I just wanted to hear. I didn't want to skip it and get onto Facebook and go live. I'm like, no, I just want to listen. So I stayed in the bathroom to listen. So thanks for what you guys do.
Could you see everything from
the back office? Yeah, from the backstage. Yeah, I could see what you guys were, the whole interview, everything. So
awesome. Yay.
You couldn't see me.
No, well, I could see you down there moving around, but yeah, you weren't up on the screen, but yeah. So anyways, thank you, ladies. You're beautiful. And I love what you're doing, and you're going to make a huge difference. And I look forward to what you have coming up.
Awesome.
Thank you for what you do and sharing all of this and putting this all together.
Oh, you're welcome. And it's my pleasure. And I am loving every single interview. Everybody's got a different niche, a different way to help people. And I really hope that the people listening can see all of the different variations. And, you might not resonate with every one of the coaches, but guaranteed there's going to be several that you do. It's like, oh my gosh, I totally get that person. Right. And I need help in that area. And that's what, we're just all trying to lift the vibration of everybody, lift everybody's lives, passion, get rid of the crap We don't want any more crap. And
Let's
you
do some
know, we're out-
brainwashing. Get the
Yeah.
garbage out.
Yeah.
drink the Kool-Aid, people. So, anyways, thank you very much, and we will talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.